don't worry about it, I guess. It's fixed now.
Uh-huh. Sure it is. Do you want me on the GM tab or GM account or what?
Preferably.
Okay.
I'm on my admin account. I mean, you're going to need access to your notes
I know
for your country,
you're
right?
Notes? What are those?
The things on the world map that you should be updating and fixing the images on, because I swear to God, it's been 2 years and half of them ain't done. I have given up on trying to tell half of you guys what to do. In fact, I just ended up doing it for some of you, because I'm... Anyway, the stream has
Don't use the AI generator to make the cities, so...
Well, you don't need to, you just sketch it out. It's going to be a good sketch.
I don't do that either in my spare time anymore.
Aw, sad.
Not at the moment, anyways.
Alright. So, let me just check to make sure. Speak?
Yellow.
Okay, I'll just bring you down a little bit. There we go. Okay, welcome to podcast 4? No, 1, 2, 3. Podcast 4. Okay.
It's definitely 7.
No, it's 4. It's definitely 4. Podcast episode 4. We're covering Runatria today. I'm going to be the host, Aura, and we have Mentalk here, who is the country owner. This is Aku, a random audience member. Welcome, Aku. We're doing a podcast today. We're covering
what about?
TCR lore, particularly country lore. We've already done 3 episodes prior.
Yes.
Sick. I'm cooking some filet mignon, if that's okay. Can I try and mute myself a little more? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, man. You're welcome to talk as well. You're also welcome to ask dumb questions, because we needed someone to ask dumb questions anyway.
I'm great at dumb questions.
The shape-shifting master of evil has arrived.
Yeah. So, from what I remember about Runatria is a country that's kind of always existed. So they didn't used to be called Runatria. They used to be called something else on the world map. They were originally run by a bunch of dragons, and then later on some druids came down from on high and started massacring them. Then there was less dragons, and then the dragons fought back and there was more dragons. That's about all I know about Runatria. It's majority like a kind of desert-y area with sparse areas of flora, vegetation, mountainous regions. Really,
well, it's weird.
It's been shaped by the dragons,
because
right?
Dragons are fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold up. What do you mean dragons are weird? It's just scaly. Where did they come from, and why are there so many dragons? Like, slow down a bit.
Oh, because the universe is ending, so all the dragons came here.
Wait, what? The universe is ending? I think you should have mentioned that.
Oh, that was a long time ago. Yeah, so a long time ago, the universe ended, and dragons and a bunch of druids were invited to this new world along with some other factions. And the god was like, hey, here's a world that I created in some spare time. I know your old world got fucked. Oops, sorry, but I hope this makes up for it. And then...
Behold.
Yeah. Downsides, the druids and dragons did not get along.
Yeah, because dragons don't give a shit about tree huggers.
Yeah, especially terrorist tree huggers. They love their terrorism.
No, they became terrorists. They were originally tree huggers.
Also,
behold the cliff notes for the creation of this setting. The universe has actually ended. We just don't know it
yet. Yep, definitely. So how would you describe Runatria currently in its current state, Rogor?
A fucking mess.
Okay, but like, if you were to describe it to a new player, what would be the synopsis of this country? If like a new guy comes to the land.
Fucking mess. Let's see. We have at least 2 gods roaming around. One's a senile old man. The other one has kobolds to thank for it, and she's not very happy about it.
Right. That's Tiamat, right?
Yeah, Tiamat. You know,
And
the one who's stuck in a giant floating island above a volcano because
and the
kobolds
senile old
thought
man
that
is
was the way
Margon
to
the
go.
Mad.
No, we're talking about Fizzban. Margon the Mad's still kind of there, but I haven't used them.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about the other senile old man who can barely remember his own name, but he does know the best spell ever, which is Fireball.
Ah, of course, of course. So, tell me about the dragons. Who rules what? Why is there dragonborns in charge, and why are the dragons not fully in charge?
Wait, hold on. Is this like a dragon supremacy movement? Because we
Yes.
have like dragon. Okay, that's interesting. Let's go.
Bitch, it's been a dragon supremacy movement for a while now.
Okay, so is there a dragon Hitler?
No?
That's a great question. I guess Tiamat's the
Maybe.
closest you'll get.
No, Tiamat's not Dragon Hitler because she also she created at least, for common lore's sake, a third of the dragons. We're not going to get into all the weird in-between ones unless somebody asks, but for common lore's sake, at least a third of the dragons were originally made by Tiamat. Another third was made by Bahamut.
Okay.
There's a Gem Dragon one. He's not important. Nobody cares about
Mm.
him. But currently, to describe it, there's like technically 4 main factions, in air quotes. There's only 3 big factions right now. The 4th one's just kind of off to the side because nobody's really poked the bear on that one yet.
Yeah, sorry about the fire alarm there.
What fire alarm?
Oh.
So, what are the 4 factions?
So the first main well, 2 to 3 of the factions are mainly dragons. One of them is involving Tiamat.
Mm-hmm.
So the one involving Tiamat is the Cult of the Dragon, who is currently trying to revive Tiamat back into her former glory, not in the weird giant engine that the kobolds have somehow created. I don't know how, because this was created before I took over.
Yeah, and that's in Alderic's currently, right?
It's currently above Old Rocks, the original treasure city of Runatria. Also a large manufacturing place because it's literally a city inside a volcano.
Okay.
But currently the Cult of the Dragon, main important members are going to be dragons or dragonborn. There are still scattered remnants of non-draconic entities of the Cult of the Dragon here as well, but they're kind of frowned upon, especially here.
Okay. Right.
The second faction is like the Dragon Matriarchy, which is currently led by the current queen, and only queen of Runatria, from what I know. Which is...
Girl boss, let's go.
Let me see if I remember her name.
That would be useful.
And if she's still in the compendium.
That would also be useful.
Hopefully it's here. I came prepared. Queen Sylviat.
Yeah, I see her.
Is she a Russian lady?
I got her image.
There's a blurry token image. That's all I got left over.
Yeah, I got her.
Queen Sylviat is specifically an orange dragonborn. For those who don't know, that's not an actual thing in 5e. I have pulled a lot from older editions as well, adding on to this. But orange dragons, if I remember right, have liquid explosion for breath. Yes, they breathe pure sodium, so basically as soon as it comes into contact with water, it explodes in fire, and is very exploding. But
so she's
also...
the bomb.com, is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. But on top of this, she's like at least 200 years old. And to put it into perspective, most Dragonborn typically don't live that long for a multitude of reasons, but like on average, they live slightly shorter than human lives in comparison.
I think I can fix her.
She's the matriarch that rules from Salot, right?
Yes. And Salat specifically is the capital city of Runatria and is also referred to as the Golden City. Recently, there has been an attack on there, which comes into the third faction, which is the best way to refer to it as the Fey faction. It's the leftover druids, Fey creatures, and other non-draconic races that did originally live in this country who have banded together now to basically kill all dragons.
Because the Runatrians, the druids that
Sure.
this country is actually named after, Runatrians, are the ones that were pushed basically to the brink of extinction by the dragons and are now hiding, or causing small terrorist attacks.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Are they British?
No.
We are in Britain, though. We are in.
They
I don't want the
are
druids
in
to be British.
Britain, but they're in Britain, but it's a bunch of people who came from a different world. So why would they be British?
Because
Yeah, I
druids
mean,
come from Britain and we're fighting Mecha Hitler, you know, that kind of thing. We're just doing,
No,
I
there's
don't know
no
about
Mega
that.
Hitler.
I think these guys would be closer to like either Italians or maybe the Muslims if we were to compare them to real life people.
Nah, they're the French because they roll over like bitches.
Lamau. No, the French are the demons and devils, remember?
Oh, right.
Wait, we talking about the actual French or just in here?
Wait,
We're
if the
talking
demons and
about
devils are
TCR.
French, hold on. If the demons and devils are French, how did they take over the world? They're the biggest bitches ever.
Well, they started by taking over France, and then they took over the rest of the world. That's how the demons and devils
Yeah,
roll.
they're not French.
They are now. Nah, they're not French, but they're the closest. But yeah, okay. So we got the kind of Fey faction that's going up against the royals, the matriarch. Who's the third faction?
The fourth faction, outside of the Cult of the Dragon, the Draconic Matriarchy, and the Fae, is going to be the Draconic Rebellion. And that originally started with a long dead ancient blue dragon now. And over time has been taken over by a yellow dragon, an ancient yellow dragon.
Okay.
The only reason this has been able to happen is because, one second, I need something to drink.
Yeah, that steak was a little too raw there. We'll put it back on the pan.
Yeah. Only reason being is the ancient yellow dragon has been able to, as all dragons do, collect artifacts over time. One of the big ones being an orb of dragonkind. A very powerful, very ancient relic that typically houses a soul of a dragon. Unless it's being wielded by another dragon, it doesn't take kindly to being used. Big major power of it, it has the ability to control dragons. That's kind of the reason why there's a rebellion at this moment. Otherwise, they'd all probably be under the Draconic Matriarchy. As also, one of the reasons why the Queen has stayed in power for so long is because she also holds an orb of dragonkind. Multiple.
Wait. So these people are these dragons are going around with orbs, and they're just trying to like orb other dragons into orbing out. And they basically just what's stopping the thief from breaking in and stealing all the orbs?
That's a great question.
One of the big things is
This
these
is
are
a great setup for a heist campaign, if anything.
Man, you can fucking try. One of the big things that ancient dragons can do, other than see into the literal multiverse of themselves, and other than become an awakened ancient, by killing their own alternate versions of themselves to become the only version that exists. Yes, that is real.
Oh, so they're Rick.
is they basically have true sight. Ancient dragons, any dragon that lives long enough typically gains the ability to gain true sight. So they can see just about anything. Not to mention the ridiculous amount of senses they already have through blind sense, their own scent, and whatnot. On top of that, most of them are magical casters. If you wanted to put it into class levels, they typically lean into sorcerer, but they can also have divine abilities, arcane abilities if they so wish. But typically they are sorcerers. So, through a weird mix of being old and knowing enough, setting up their own magical traps through paranoia, and just sheer power, nobody's really been able to take these. Another reason is the dragon, the yellow dragon, a name that I totally can pronounce, if I can find it. Wherever did I put it?
Yes.
His name is Dizero Swift Talon.
Okay.
He typically keeps the orb around him at all times. Usually is like illusions to be a less powerful item. On top of using, say, Niztol's magical aura to not reveal it's an artifact.
Okay.
But there's a lot going on, so tensions, like most tensions, are kind of at a standstill. The only reason why the Fae is able to get away with some of their attacks as well is because, let's be honest, Runatria, if you look on the map, is right next to the Demon Sea.
Yeah,
So,
the Demon Sea is just south of Runatria, which is slightly problematic. It means it's potentially under attack from the wall whenever the demons and devils get through it.
So
it means it's basically the second line of defense right after the Bone Lands. The Bone Lands, as we know, is not the best defense position right now.
Oh yeah. The reason why Runatria hasn't been overrun by demons is because there's a ton of fucking dragons.
Well, yeah, the demons and dragons got to fight each other because the demons got to claim Grandma Mega Hitler from her throne and get all her orbs. And like, I don't know if they want to sample some of her orbs in the process or just take all the orbs that control the dragons.
Mega Hitler though.
I think he's talking about the matriarch. I think he's talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The like Mega Hitler, I'm just saying you have an orb mommy going on here. That's what you got.
Well, here's the thing. Outside of the red dragons, almost every other dragon performs a similar ritual to red dragons. So, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, typically when red dragons become like about young adult in age, they kind of go through their own form of military service. That being is, they typically go off to the Astral Sea and start fighting against the Illithids with the Githyanki. Only reason being is because Tiamat had struck a deal with the Githyanki queen, Vlaakith, and basically it's like a shared partnership between them. So red dragons assist the Githyanki for a time, and by the time they come back, it's a form of prestige for them.
Which is actually very interesting in the current setting, because the Astral Sea is very limited. It's extremely limited in this setting. And Illithids are few and far between, so there isn't really an armada out there to fight. They're more just popping up now and again from capsules which have been buried underground for a long, long time. We've only just recently seen the rise of Illithids on Britannia, on Jorah.
Here's the thing, because of that deal, there's like very few Illithid capsules that actually exist in Runatria. As on top of that, half dragons exist.
Mhm.
People will fuck anything, literally. Sorry to be crass about it, but it's just going to exist. So half dragons exist. One of the main half dragons is also a Githyanki half dragon, specifically a Githyanki half red dragon. So in exchange, they also come to the material plane on Runatria and basically weed these out. The guild had only needed to deal with one of these capsules and dealt with two of the illithids that were not essentially missed, they just weren't found yet. So, given enough time, they would have been dealt with. So
okay.
Luckily, Runatria doesn't have to deal with that kind of problem.
So getting a bit back on track, right? So what we've talked about is that we're split into effectively 4 factions. We have the Runatrians, which are, I think they're somewhere around about here-ish. Actually, I've got walls. I still have walls. Yeah, there we go. They're about there.
Yeah, the original Runatrians are around there.
We have we have Tiamat's faction, which is somewhere about here the now, I want to say.
Move that line down to like just before the river.
Okay, so they're kind of like stopped at the river because kobolds are stupid. Yeah. Got you. Right.
Kobolds are very stupid.
About there. Okay.
Around there.
The matriarchy kind of spans basically
for
the entire place, but obviously I think that they might have some problems over here in the corner in particular. I know there's a fortress city right here, but
no, actually the problems arrive around in this area.
Oh, right, okay, so between the druids and Tiamat, and where's the rebellion?
Yes, that's the rebellion right here.
Okay, so the rebellion's in these kind of mid-zones between the two problematic factions. Okay.
So if you're wondering, the rebellion is centered in the trade city of Kroll, mainly because the trade city houses not only draconic creatures, but just about any other race that is willing to live there. Mainly because under Dizero's protection, they are able to live there without any real problems. It's just traveling back and forth can become an issue, so sometimes they hire out the guild to do trade requests or basically guard duty.
Who's Dizero?
It's the yellow dragon.
Oh, nice food by the way. Okay. Oh, he's gone. Okay. Okay, so he's the guard dragon. Sure. Right. So that's the factions that we've talked about. Let me just get rid of this. Get rid of this. Okay. Now let's have a look at. Tell me about this province up in the top left. What's going on here? Why is there a big wall? What's the dealio?
So over here, I'm not going to bother pronouncing the name. I randomly generated these because dragon names are fucking confusing.
Was Zeria Satir?
That. Let's go with that.
I think that's how you pronounce it. Was Zeria Satir.
So around here, for the most part, just kind of barren desert. Though I will say it does have highly rich mineral veins.
Okay.
And that is due to the due to specifically the leader of the fortress city of Io, which is an iron dragon.
Right here. Okay. Io, named after the god of all dragons, the father of all dragons.
Yes, named after Io, who is specifically referred to in draconic lore as the Overgod. The god above gods. The original god and originally a primordial in their eyes.
Yeah.
If I can ever find it.
I believe in TCR lore, he actually came before the primordials, if I remember correctly. He was birthed from the cosmic sea, and then he decided, I need someone to make my worlds, and then he birthed the primordials. I believe.
Alright. I know I had one. Why can't I find it now?
a little lesser known fact, but the big guy, Accursed or Accusad, is actually meant to be the direct descendant of Io, which is why he is so ginormous. He's the biggest dragon to date,
Right.
other than Io himself. At least the biggest living dragon that we know of currently.
Right. Currently the Iron Dragon, Kelthrolim, is the leader of Io. They mainly protect the area from the Bone Lands and also from... What are the two countries up north? Is it McCann and what else?
Up north, so you have
Basically here and here.
the province of Losland, which is the area which has just recently been taken from Albion by Calcea. Up to the left here, you have the Chaos Warp, or sorry, the Chaos, or it's called something. I remember it's been a long time since we've had to name it. Basically, a land of mist where if you enter it, things go crazy. And then up here we have McCann, which is notable for their single province of the City of Glass, which is a city.
Weirdly enough, Runatria is on good terms with McCann for the most part. They do trade, they also trade in technology, which is also one of the reasons they're kind of able to stay afloat.
That's extremely interesting, considering McCann recently just threatened the entire of Britannia, basically saying, if you do not kill the Illithids and bring us their corpses, we're going to kill you. Because you're going to be a traitor to all living things.
So, yeah, McCann might have made that blanketed statement to the entire of Britannia. Reason why Runatria would be in good standing with them is mainly because of, as I said, they're kind of that deal that Tiamat made with the Queen of the Githyanki. They have ways of dealing with the Illithid that they've probably taught the McCann to do as well. On top of that, as well as possibly lent out items that would say interfere with psionics. So, one of the big reasons why they're still probably within good standing right now.
Yeah, and obviously to the northeast, south, the west is Edensville, the peace-loving country that recently got nuked. It's the big yellow zone, is the nuclear kind of zone from the Damocles going kaboom, or firing off its cannon. Right, so this Quasioseth, or whatever we said it was called. We should probably fix these province names, they're horrific.
That is subject to change.
Okay. So the fortress city of Io, being one of the two cities in this area, you've also got the one right up at the wall, I believe. What is the main production, exports, imports of Io?
Main production / import exports would be mainly raw materials, specifically in metals. As I said before, there's an iron dragon living within there, and lesser known fact about dragons, the longer they live in an area, the more they affect it. It's not like an active magical spell that they create. It's more of like ambient magic they exude, like literally starts affecting the land. So like when an iron dragon lives there, more iron depots are going to start spawning, more metals are going to be available and abundant.
Okay,
and
so
in
like
doing so, they might
the
also
dragons
have
just like are around, and then you just see mountains of metal, like raw metal, just coming out of the ground like spikes or something.
No, it's not like, oh hey, they go there and then magically, instantly, tons of whatever material happens to appear. This naturally occurs over long periods of time.
Okay.
Io has always had an iron dragon there, so this effect has been lasting for quite a while now.
Have we ever gotten behind the mechanics of how that works and why that works? The way it does?
Strictly, it's
Like, do
How to
they?
describe it?
So obviously we've got magic and the divine magic and dragons listed in the documentation here, but I don't think we've ever discussed this. When a dragon's in an area, they warp the weave around it and the topology, the nature around it to change to them. So what does it do? Is it like changing the ether in the air, the essence in the air to like their own kind of essence, and then it's just
Something along the
producing.
lines of that.
Okay,
As you do know, dragons originally, as stories may say, were like birthed from the gods. So you have the standard ones of Bahamut and Tiamat who birthed the chromatic and metallic dragons. There are still a few others, few and far between. Um, like the gem dragon Saridor, who the ancient ruby red dragon, who then spawned in the gem dragons. On top of that, there are still other forms of dragon, like the Pharaoh's dragons, like other metal dragons, like the Iron Dragon, the Steel Dragon, the Mercury Dragon, and so on, and whatnot. Dragons are creatures of pure magic. They never haven't been a creature of magic. So,
okay.
in doing so, when they typically get old enough, they start affecting the land around them. Typically, once they reach adult stage,
So
they will then start like literally exuding a magical aura that
so
just
is
starts
this
to
like
affect
the
them.
magic is leaking out from them because they're no longer growing,
Yes.
right? So all that excess magic has to go somewhere.
No. All dragons are still growing no matter what. It's just they produce enough magical energy by the time they reach adulthood that it just then starts leaking out of their body in a way that's just kind of blankets the land they're in.
Right.
Typically, when it's an adult, it's usually like maybe the size of a town it affects in like a bubble.
Okay.
By the time it's like old, it starts affecting like maybe a small province. By the time they are like Great Worm, it then starts to affect like one of these large provinces here.
So typically how magic works, to my knowledge, is that it's granted from the ley lines in the area through what's called the weave lines or the ley lines, which is effectively the world tree's branches stretching throughout the world invisibly. So
Right.
dragons being this kind of generator of magic is considerably like interesting and different because it implies either they're able to pull on the power of the world tree without needing access to these ley lines, or they themselves are an extension of world tree as a ley line. I'm just curious as to like what it is, or is that kind of something you're leaving ambiguous? You know?
Well, before I give an answer to that, so you know how like a sorcerer or a wizard works, right?
Yeah,
So
they
typically,
pull on the power of the weave, and
yeah,
that's like a
but
big structure.
typically when it comes to that kind of magic, especially from wizards and sorcerers, wizards typically take time and study the magic and then literally learn how to grasp onto these ley lines and bend it to their will. It's a similar thing with sorcerers, but instead of like through studiousness and study, they literally just feel it out and then kind of tweak it enough so that they can have their effect happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, because dragons are inherently magical, and almost all dragons are some form of sorcerer, or because most dragons, by the time they're old enough, they have inherent magic. They don't need to study for it. They don't need to awaken it. They just kind of have it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so all dragons kind of have that ability in some way to manipulate the weave to themselves. Whether they do it consciously or unconsciously is based on the effect. So, like that thing where they affect the land, that is an unconscious effect of them just being able to manipulate the weave in such a way where it's just they make it their habitat and just naturally bend the land to what they would prefer.
Okay, so they're like closer to a sorcerer then, is what you're saying.
Yes, most dragons typically are sorcerers. There are a few that can be wizards. Dragons don't typically become divine casters. They can certainly cast divine spells, but they're not harnessing it from a divine source.
Right.
They can
Yeah.
just kind of do it.
Yeah, because
As
as we learned through some of the documentation that one of the researchers did on the difference between regular magic and divine magic, regular magic is just the ether in its raw state, unfiltered, just here you go. Whereas divine
Right.
magic is the ether that's compressed and refined, typically done by a god or an elder entity, but in some cases, like paladins, they refine that magic themselves instead of relying on a god or another entity.
Yeah, it's similarly to that, but on top of that, as mentioned before, dragons are the creations of divine beings. Like the Draconic Pantheon has created several dragons. So
Yeah,
they just inherently have that ability to filter the magic themselves and cast that divine magic.
yeah. I presume the closer you get to like a pure breed lineage, the closer you get to the first dragons, the more potent that's going to be. Where maybe all of their spells are just here's divinity on top of whatever I'm already doing, right?
Right. Speaking on that, Iron Dragon specifically, one of the quirks they have, unfettered hatred towards red dragons. But they specifically hold clans throughout their society, and at the very top is almost considered a divine being. Um,
Hmm.
Let me make sure,
So
as
I'm guessing
they're
like each color of a dragon has their own kind of like house head or something like that.
something along the lines of that.
Okay, because obviously having every dragon represented by every dragon at the at Salot would be retarded, right? So obviously they have to have
Right.
representatives that talk to the
So,
matriarch.
so when it comes to that, for the matriarch, they host typically like every few months they'll host a council, and that council will be represented by the leaders of each faction of dragon, who kind of head their almost species. Um, but speaking on the nature of the Iron Dragons, they host a ritual, and the strongest of the Iron Dragons typically becomes their basically progenitor, which is fuck if I can pronounce it. Gru Grughal Thor. Grughal Thor.
Go call Thor.
Um, yeah, and basically the strongest one of them will literally take and house the soul of that dragon and become them after a certain amount of time.
Oh, okay. So they interesting. So they take the soul into their body, and then the soul overrides the one that was already there, right? So it's like a
Right.
an incarnation thing.
It's a form of reincarnation that is strictly for the Iron Dragons themselves. They are the only ones that perform this kind of ritual.
It's very
Um,
interesting. If you tried to do that in a human society, you would be branded a heretic and murdered on the spot, probably.
oh,
Um,
most definitely.
it's very interesting that the Iron Dragons are allowed to get away with this, but I guess that's a dragon thing. They see themselves as above the
The Iron
rest.
Dragons have been able to get away with this just because this is how their society is ran for basically time immemorial.
Hmm.
Um,
I'd imagine like scholars and other wizards would flock to see such a thing if they were ever allowed to try and study it and replicate it.
if they were ever allowed to know this, yes, they would love to see this.
Okay, but I'm presuming it's usually done in private among only the Iron Dragons.
This is a very well guarded secret kept among the Iron Dragons specifically, so not even the Queen knows about this.
Oh, okay,
It's
so
just
it's a
every
secret
time
currently.
it's a secret. Every time that the dragon has come in, the Queen has just assumed it was a title that every Iron Dragon takes whenever they come in.
Interesting. It's also very interesting to note that the matriarch probably hasn't lived nearly as long as half the dragons in the society, which means there has to have been a
No.
previous one. No?
No, there is no previous queen. The only reason being, from what we know of, she had some sort of divine blessing on top of being able to hold an orb of dragonkind and force dominance amongst the other dragons.
Right. Okay. Definitely. Okay. Interesting. So I presume before they came into the world of Jorah, the dragons were all separated in their own clans or were off separately. Because if I remember correctly, dragons
yes.
are not typically a social species.
Kind of. When it comes
Depends on
to
the
their
color,
own
right?
kind, it depends on the color.
Right.
Most of the time, if they see a different color, it's almost always hostile, especially among the chromatic dragons.
Hmm.
When it comes to the metallic dragons, they are very much willing to open up to cooperation, and so are the Pharos dragons and gem dragons. The gem dragons just kind of want to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
They're more like the scholarly and studious type of dragon.
Mm.
They'll kind of
So
just
the society
go
that's been
down,
built
make their
in
own.
Runatria at the bottom of Britannia is quite unique in a sense because
Yeah.
I'm assuming this has been done out of necessity because if they didn't do this, where are they really going to go? They have to break through the ice wall to then fight a bunch of demons and devils, and that's not ideal for them.
It's either that or it's they just start attacking villages, taking over other territory, basically inciting violence for the most part when it comes to the hostile dragons.
Yeah, which
And then it's
means it's
they
you know
become a
like if
problem
they
for
did that,
everybody.
they inevitably run out of space anyway, right?
Right. Speaking on that, dragons are fucking big. They eat a lot. How did they solve that problem? Um, Weirdly enough, it came from the orcs.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It could also differ wildly based off of the species. So a metallic dragon, they could just eat metallic objects and get, power from the unmaking of metal. You could have prismatic dragons that literally feed off of psychic energy of other people.
Here's the weird thing. Technically, when a dragon is old enough, they don't really need to eat. They generate enough magical energy and power that they physically could just sustain themselves by existing.
Sure, and if that's elemental based, yeah.
They typically most of them are elemental based, so
yep, they typically do.
Like by the time they're old enough, they don't need to really eat. Fun fact: the older a dragon gets, the longer they sleep. That's kind of how they decide to recuperate.
I remember you mentioned something that once a dragon reaches a certain age, they consume a whole lot of gold or whatever they consider valuable to perform some sort of ritual, which makes them immortal, non-aging, don't need to eat kind of thing. What's that called? Or what's the process of that?
So, that is something else.
Okay.
What can happen is the dragons will decide to prolong their life, and in doing so, they can offer up a large portion of their dragon sword to then extend their lifespan. The thing is once a dragon reaches a certain age, they physically start becoming weaker, and it's very strange. Let me see if I can find it.
And the alternative to that is they return to the elements or something like that, and they become part of the world. I think I remember reading something about that.
That depends on the setting. So if it's your setting, it's different. But typically in like D&D land, I know this isn't it, but I'll just, give a little insight. In D&D land, dragons, when they die, their essence, because they don't really have a soul, their essence kind of dissipates and like goes back into the planar realms, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
they generate a lot of elemental energy throughout their life based off of stuff that they eat, typically chromatic and metallic, not so much prismatic. But when they do that, they actually add not only to the physical space, but to the planar space. And so only their bones are typically left behind. And that's only if they're also very powerful dragons, such that their bones become sort of like permanent physical magical objects.
Hmm. Hmm.
But again, that's based off of
Well,
the
yeah.
setting.
So
This
if you
is
aren't aware,
not
Martin,
D&D land.
this is a podcast where we're going over Runatria lore, and I'm asking a bunch of questions to Morgan because he's the guy that runs Runatria currently. Which,
Who?
yes, we know used to be the
Damn, I've
the
been
druid
replaced
guys.
immediately.
You've been replaced with me immediately. Wow.
Yeah. So
Guess it's Morden's show now.
No, it's Mentalk show, but we're definitely asking questions.
So
For reference,
Morden
it's
is
called
correct.
Runatria, but it's only called Runatria because the druids moved in, and then the dragons killed all the druids, and then just didn't change the name. And that's kind of where
we
we're
said
at
we're
currently.
fuck it, we're taking this place. It's ours now.
Yeah.
That's
druids
cool.
are
By the
still
way,
around,
hi.
but
Hi.
they're doing terrorism.
I'm
Hello there.
Morden. I'm not trying to, rain on your parade or anything. I just want to I came in to see what y'all was up to. It's always interesting hearing where this has gone since it deviated, and I like popping in from time to time.
Yeah, so this is Morden, one of the original creators of TCR, and also the head of the card game currently that we're working on in secret. I guess not so much in secret anymore, but that's Morden.
Yeah, it's very much top secret now that it's been mentioned on the podcast.
He wrote a bunch of the core lore that we have since expanded in this pocket universe called Jorah, which is it's set separately to the card game universe, but still kinda connected. It's a different pocket universe is the best way to put it.
By the way, something I should mention that is interesting that the dragons killed all of the druids and took over, because in the original source material, druids are an ever-present problem because they perform circular magic in an area that combines giant rituals where they constantly reincarnate in the area to then, kind of fuck with humanity and keep them more or less, broken and no big civilizations, right? Because if civilizations pop up and they become too permanent and they become too big, well, then kaijus end up erupting out of the fucking ground and killing everybody, including some of them. And that is bad. But you don't have to worry about that if all of the, humanity and the druids are both dead. So there's really no reason for them to come back unless lots of people show up or the dragon population spawns too many and they have their own civilization, in which case now you have dragon killing druids.
Yeah. So the
Yeah,
druids right
hey,
now
Aura.
are what's up with the druids right now in Windtalk, right? Because they're a place.
For first correction, you keep on saying the druids are dead. They're not all dead.
Oh right, yeah.
They're still there. We've been over this. It's literally one of the factions.
Yeah, of course. Well, I say quotation marks to killed all the druids, but you can never really kill the druids, right? They've got that infinite reanimation bullshit.
But
you would have what you would have to do to kill the druids is you go, all right, the area that this circle that they have bound themselves to, completely devoid of life.
So
funny you mentioned
one
that.
of those kaijus. What recent events have happened of the druids really have been getting sick and tired of getting their asses kicked by the dragons. So, in doing so, they decided to perform one of those ritualistic circles that they so like doing. Outside of attacking the Golden City of Salah and causing untold mayhem and destruction there, they managed to reach out to other entities entirely and have constructed a great gate near their own territory.
That's this place, right? The Rift?
Yes, the rift over here. It's now a fully functional gate that has unlocked another reality that has brought in, for lack of a better term, demons of a different kind.
Chthonians,
Interesting.
some shit like that.
Sure, let's go with that. We
Okay.
won't say due to copyright reasons, but demons of a different kind.
Interesting.
Who also strangely use a strange form of magic. Um, it's instead of it being from the world tree, it seems to be twisting and corrupting the magic of the world tree, and is some form of corrupted magic as well that they use. Some of the druids have finally been embracing it, but in doing so, they managed to accidentally break a seal on another creature that had been locked away within specifically the elemental plane of water.
Oh, okay.
Around here, like around here, another creature has been unleashed and also has created effectively an unending storm of acid rain.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yes, specifically, this was an ancient creation of the primordials. Remind me again, was there a war against the primordials and the gods?
There was a war against the primordials and gods a long time ago, before the creation of Jara. There was a great war. There was actually two great wars, right? So there was the war between the primordials and gods, and then there was the Omniscience War. The war between the primordials and the gods happened because Chaos himself, the creator of all, the thing before everything, got kind of annoyed that things were happening in his great nothing. So he decided to go to the primordials and said, "Hey, see these gods? They're taking everything that you're creating and they're fucking with it." So he managed to get the primordials on his side, and they went to war against the gods. And the primordials ended up losing and were locked away by most of the gods in their respective planes. Basically, big prisons for the primordials.
Right, and as you know, war tends to lead to innovations, some being good, some being not. One of those innovations had been the corruption of some of the gods' creations, specifically that of the dragons. What would happen is the primordials managed to, through other agents, steal large amounts of dragon eggs and infuse them with primordial elemental energy in such a way that they fully changed from a dragon egg. And at this point, if you ever see one, it kind of looks like an inert rock. But in doing so, these spawned what's known as the catastrophe dragons. Dragons that are basically living elements themselves, and most of them typically hating any form of society. One of these has been unleashed specifically in Acid Rain Catastrophe Dragon.
Interesting. Is this under the control of the druids, or do the druids have no control over this one?
No control whatsoever. This isn't completely unrelated to them. This somehow.
Okay, so this was like an accidental unleashing of a calamity.
This is an accidental unleashing from whatever they contacted. Managed to break the weave in such a way where it weakened this seal, so the catastrophe dragon can escape.
Right, and I presume they built this gate and contacted these other entities because they're running low on resource. A lot of their avenues of creating like summoning kaijus from other planes or from the afterlife, or just creating them from a lizard, have obviously dried up because the dragons have just been relentlessly battering them every time they show up.
Right.
So this was kind of like, we got some dark tomes here, we're going to go build this thing because some wacky guy was like, this is a great idea. Definitely a great idea. And then they built it and then they found out.
As you know, sometimes wizards in their own madness start looking into things they shouldn't, and one of them managed to find this in the end. But in doing so, went mad and tried doing this. And as the story goes, a group of adventurers killed him off. And being adventurers, they kind of looted the place. They didn't really think about the rest of the implications. Kind of just left it as is. The druids managed to find it and started performing these rituals. And
Okay.
here's what happened.
Okay. So the druids of the day, like obviously the more powerful druids are yet to reincarnate. We've kind of only got the lackeys and the underlings, the people who were like students of the great druids, the people who are true threats.
Right.
What's keeping these true threats from coming back currently?
Currently, what's keeping them back is mainly just
Time.
the kind of.
Lots of time, probably.
It takes time. Much like a dragon soul, the ancient druids probably have, in comparison, a very dense soul compared to like the standard human. So, if you've ever wondered, um, say why aren't there more Draco liches in the world than compared to a regular lich? Um, Regular liches are just a human soul that's just been bound to an object and raised an undeath into lichdom. But like dragons, they can't turn themselves into liches by themselves. They require somebody else to do that as well. They require help in that aspect because of how dense they are. Dense they are when it comes to magical power and how dense their soul is.
Also, well, hold on. You said how dense their soul is. That's kind of an oxymoron there. Dragons don't have souls, they have essences. So, in order to sustain their own essence and grow it, they need to kill and feast on actual souls to keep the lichdom, going. A regular phylactery, for instance, a lich will just be like, all right, every so often, slurp up one soul. All right, I'm good for another 100 years. Well, that was old D&D or whatever. Now, it's more like, say 10 per year, roughly, right? They kind of wanted to.
The upkeep cost is increased.
The upkeep cost is increased because, thousand-year-old fucking wizard can, accumulate enough power to perform fucking like nth level spells that are like fucking beyond just, Mishra's fucking and Mistra's speed limits, right?
Right.
More or less. Yes, fine print says one person cannot, perform, anything greater than a 9th level spell. Okay, multiple people. Well, multiple people, a singular spell circle can no longer, work within a ritual to perform anything greater than a 9th level spell. Okay, fine. That was a small print. What about multiple spell circles intertwined with multiple rituals with multiple people? Well, if you gather enough fucking, people that want to become liches together underneath an archlich, who will teach them how to do it, they'll fucking do anything for them, right? So,
exactly.
30th level spells are now open to them specifically. Well, a lich dragon, he has a lot of fucking people swearing fealty to him because they don't want to fucking burn. They don't want to die. They don't want their fields scorched in fucking necrotic fire.
Right. One of the most famous that do still exist somewhere within Runatria is the Draco Lich Durgathoth. Originally one of Mistra's chosen, an ancient Draco Lich that still exists today, as well. And probably one of the most terrifying things you can deal with, as what has been recorded from encounters with the Draco Lich. He's apparently learned how to melt people's bones by breathing on them.
Interesting.
And that's not a joke, by the way. That's real.
So he just turns their bones to like broth just by breathing on them?
Literally turns them into liquid, so then it effectively kills a person because, person's being held up by a skeleton. Like, any creature is being held up by a skeletal structure that isn't some form of ooze. So it's like, what happens when all their organs just kind of flop into a meaty mass?
Oh, they just implode. They just go.
No,
Exactly.
hold on,
They
hold on.
implode and most likely die.
To be fair, it's not the impact of your body sloshing gently to the ground that does it. You might end up with a little bit of a concussion in your brain, but that's fine.
Right.
What really kills you is the sudden blood or drop in blood pressure.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Would be wild.
Because now all of a sudden, all of these fucking like arteries and veins that are used to pumping blood in one direction are now, a tangled
Everywhere.
spaghetti soup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now your brain is going to get bursted from the blood pressure.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't talk about the other Draco Lich that we know about very well, because that was truly the most cruel prank a player has ever pulled on a god. I'm of course referring to Axios, who was once the god of the orcs, or the demigod of the orcs, and was by a wish that was granted to a player at the start of the server. They got to wish anything, and they're like, "Oh, I want to bring Axios in, and I want to put him in a Draco Lich's body." And no, we're also like,
wished
what the
for
fuck?
The worst thing ever.
Truly, like a complete prank on Axios, because Axios did not like that in the slightest, because that's not his vibe. So now he has to deal with being a Draco Lich.
Here's the thing, man. He's still got a fucking dragon body. I don't think that's a real downgrade for the most part. I mean, yeah, sure, you're missing your godhood, but you're still a powerful ass undead dragon that doesn't need to worry about dying.
No, you don't understand, because Axios didn't earn it on his own merit, so he's extremely pissed off about that. Because he has to earn everything on his own merit, and he has to be the best at everything.
It should be noted, the dragon body was his fucking mount that he dominated in his previous existence.
That must have been salt on that wound.
The entity that was his previous mount is probably chittering in his fucking ear for all eternity now, going, "Heh, you fucking earned this, boyo. Now you're just a mount too."
Yep. Yeah, so that's the other Draco Lich we know of. That's not really a Draco Lich, but just a cruel prank played by the players on a god.
Indeed.
So
we then made several other pranks on other players.
So the druids are interesting. We went over the matriarch. Let's talk about Tiamat and the kobold fuckers. The complete circus clown situation that's going on over there.
So,
first of all, how and why is Tiamat on the material plane? And second of all, why are they in a big volcano with a bunch of kobolds?
So originally, Tiamat was effective. Very much an oversimplification. Before all this happened, Tiamat was effectively a guard dog for the first layer of hell.
Mm-hmm.
But kobolds in their infinite wisdom were like, we wish to free Tiamat and summon her to the material plane. How do we do that? Well, she needs a body, right? Yeah, so let's build her one. So then they started gathering all the materials they could. They started creating this island, vaguely in the shape of Tiamat, because they knew she had multiple heads. But instead of building it like a 5-headed dragon, they built it kind of like how Yamata no Orochi is built, where it's like an island with a mass of snake bodies and then snake heads coming out of it.
That's interesting.
And it was like a mechanical island, if I remember correctly?
Yes, it's a mechanical island specifically. It's a metal body. It's not her, it's not an avatar of her. It's just a construct that's holding your soul. She's really mad about that, because if she had her actual body, she'd probably be able to do a lot more things. And because it's kobold make, this body, well, yes, it works. It works in air quotes. It's not great. A lot of things falling apart. Several kobolds have to be there performing maintenance, trying to make sure everything's running, and whatnot. But after hearing Tiamat had been brought forth to the material plane, the Cult of the Dragon had been renewed. Um, Originally, they were all about trying to usher in an age of dragons, and then later on, ensure that they had the most powerful creatures under their control through Draco Lichdom, and through the process being able to control them, as they've created several magic items to reign undead dragons under their control. Now that Tiamat has returned, a lot of followers has risen up in the ranks and tried to bring her cult back and try and resurrect her for real. So, for the few people who do have fire immunity within the cult, they are the ones who are able to directly go over to Old Rocks, communicate, and bring over the rest of this info to the rest of the cultists. But due to Tiamat's nature of being a creature from hell, there are also several demons that live within Old Rocks now that have overrun the place, as well as kobolds, other dragons, dragonborn, and draconic creatures of that make.
Okay. So there's a bunch of devils and demons made their way into Aldrox, specifically to help out, presumably like either an old friend, acquaintance, or because they knew Tiamat was powerful, or just because they smell opportunity.
Weird
or they
mix
just
of
want to eat
both.
some kobolds. Like demons specifically are probably just like, kobold, eat.
A weird mix of all of those reasons. Like some of them were underneath Tiamat and are loyal followers who wish to assist her and ascend her into her rightful form to unleash all sorts of destruction on the world. Others are like, oh, the god is here? Maybe I can get in their good graces and maybe obtain some power or something like that. Some are thinking they're better than the god and are trying to do something so they can usurp them. Others are like, why not? This looks entertaining. I'll go check this out and see what I can do.
So Alderox used to be the treasure city of Runatria. It held a bunch of really important shit. How did Tiamat end up here? Because obviously they weren't here before. They were off in the Demon Seas as an island and then just wandered up here. But like, was there not like a guy guarding this very important city? What was going on?
Originally, there was a leader of the city, kind of like how there's the leader of Kroll, Dizero Swift Talon. There was actually a volcanic dragon turtle that originally ran this city. But through players, through members of the guild assisting in other actors' plans, they managed to summon powerful demons, which then caused a fight within Old Rocks, which then killed the original leader. Specifically, I wasn't around when this happened, so the details are a bit fuzzy to me.
If I remember correctly, there was a big turtle guy who was defending the city. Right. It was a turtle dragon, I think. An ancient one.
A dragon. It was a volcanic dragon turtle.
Right. Yeah. And he fought against Tiamat whilst the players evacuated the city. He ended up losing because one of the players distracted him, and that got him, murdered. As well, we don't exactly know what happened. All we know is that his corpse fell into the lava and just disappeared below the lava.
Right.
That's the last we saw of him. And then ever since, I've not really been back there as a player. I've not seen any sessions with it. I know there have been sessions there, but I don't know what's happened in that area since.
There has been a session there, and there was a growing catastrophe dragon within the mountain that the players did manage to deal with, specifically a volcanic catastrophe dragon. Very young, just recently hatched. Otherwise, not been nothing else they have been able to do. Um,
Okay.
on top of this, those demons I did mention have been seen in Old Rocks, and they've been seen around the rest of the country. They've also been seen within the Golden City of Salat. Specifically, a powerful demon of that the Druid summoned was actually talking to the Queen as if they were negotiating something.
Okay. Interesting.
So, these demons that were brought in by the Druids are secretly playing all sides of these two factions within their war. So
I
we
remember I
don't know
remember something
currently what's
about
happening.
Oberon and Titania getting involved with the Druids now. I remember something about that. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I do know what's happening. Oberon being the god lord of the Fae, and Titania being his wife, but also kind of the more scary of the two gods. Honestly, don't want to fuck with Titania.
Right.
She will fuck you up really bad. Um, Oberon's the more chill of the two, from what I remember. Like if he's walk across him the wrong way, you're not going to get your guts turned inside out randomly. At least.
Yeah, and as stated before, the Druids are getting kind of desperate because, they're running out of resources since everything's being savagely destroyed by the dragons. So they're kind of just reaching out and seeing if they can grasp straws from anywhere. Like they'll ask Titania, they'll ask Oberon, they'll ask other entities from God knows where to assist them in either just trying to retake their home as they believe.
Hmm. Obviously, that's the first step for them. Right after that comes genocide of all living things, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so that's that area. Tell me about Mashops.
Meshox?
Yeah.
Right. So Meshox has relatively been out of harm's way for most of this. It's effectively one of the largest residential centers and is it's usually referred to as a oasis city as well. Ah, yes, the giant dragon token.
Yeah, I was just updating the image to be Mecha Dragon.
But yeah, Meshox Meshox is like a large residential city. Like plenty of people live there, lots of agriculture, lots of flowing water as shown on the map. They are right next to the river and are also near the mountainside.
Mhm.
Um, Luckily enough, most of the problems that have been arriving have not affected them. So the townspeople there are fairly well off. Um, there are a few non-draconic races there. Um, and some say that the originator of whatever is helping the dragons keep their appetite down, or in some sense, or keeping them from essentially destroying every farm they come across just to eat, uh, lives there.
Okay.
And the current leader there is actually a black dragonborn, an old black dragonborn who is a monk. Let me see if I still have his NPC here. I might not.
Do you remember his name?
I wish I did, because I had a document on this and the previous owner shared it with me, but I have not contacted him, nor has he given me access to it again.
Oh, English, yeah. It's been a long, long time. But hey, if he's
Yes.
active again, he's in the Discord, I think. But I think I know the one you're talking about, yeah. Okay, so this is kind of the area that is keeping most of the dragons in check, right?
Yeah. When dragons typically want to relax, they will typically come here. Um, when it comes to a city, yes, it does have accommodations for larger creatures when it's there. But if you ever go to the marketplaces here, it's mainly suited for humanoid creatures, as most dragons have the ability to shapeshift, so they can take on human forms if they so wish.
Yeah.
So it is
They can just cast
not a
true.
huge
They can
deal.
cast true polymorph at will, right? Or they can just
Uh,
cast polymorph at will.
yeah, basically casting polymorph at will. Specifically, they choose to polymorph into a humanoid creature, typically a human,
Hmm.
or some variant of it as well.
Tell
Because
me
some
about
dragons,
Zadkazaz, the Fort City.
Zadkazaz is, so as I mentioned, like the sort of military service that red dragons grow through.
Yeah.
Almost every single dragon that is involved with Runatria will typically have been in Zadkazaz or is at Zadkazaz in some moment, as this is one of the main cities that assists with dealing with the demon hordes that are trying to come through from the ice wall.
Oh, okay, so Runatria probably regularly sends help to the Bonelands, right?
You would think. Runatria is very territorial and it's kind of standoffish with most countries. So, like, sometime, like, depending on who is in charge during that day, like, they might send over someone if they are feeling benevolent. Most of the time, they do not, though.
Okay. So more or less, the dragons just, their military service is just touring their coastlines or being part of the guard, right?
Touring the coastlines, being a part of the guard, and basically eradicating any form of demonic horde they will see that is across the Renatrian border, at least.
Okay, sure. Or, rooting out druids and burning them to the crisp, probably.
That too, but that's a given. Every dragon will do that no matter what.
I would like to mention one other thing. This might help you out, Mentok. So Runatria and basically every civilization, they used to come from their own, existence, right? Their own version of the world. If there is anything that you would like that is like old world shit inspiration that you need, hit me up. And
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. We do have a little bit of lore on where the dragons came from, a tiny, tiny bit. The only bit of lore we do know is that. Sorry, on you go.
Okay. If you want to know about basically how kaijus are made, right? It's not too overly complicated. It's basically the druids are making sure to hold back a phenomenon that is locked into the worlds that they, create circles in and where they originally came from. Like literally just part of their land. The land itself creates this phenomenon. And it is, hey, from time to time, a creature will just evolve. Nothing too big, but they evolve elementally. So, regular salamander might turn into a fire salamander. That's cool, right? And they might, hide in little logs, that are inside fires, just warm themselves up. There could also be something along the lines of a bird, evolves to the point where it gains an electromagnetic field and it starts literally being electrocuted but doesn't die. And now all of a sudden that hawk screeches down from the sky, flaps its wings to break its fall, and then all of a sudden just a fucking thunderstorm of electricity just zaps everything below and fries it so that it can eat it. Okay, that's a little less, mundane. But
this explains as to why the druids have been so weakened, because they're cut off from that world entirely.
Well, hold on, no. Because remember, it's in the earth, it's in the soil, it's in if you
It's
took
the
a pluck
land.
of, it's the land. If you plucked part of their land and made it part of your world, it's that land.
Ah, right, okay.
So
Right, yeah,
if
this
they're
actually makes
dead,
sense.
if they're dead and they're not there to keep the land in check and not keep keep all of the non-amicable people from over harvesting the land and basically disrupting the flow of natural elements and shit, well, guess what can happen? Elemental evolution. No, you could also have some dragons coming about from elemental forces. You could have them just naturally evolving from certain dragons, or maybe there's divine inspiration. That's not up for me to tell you how you want dragons to come about in your land, but
Weirdly
what is
enough,
So,
there has been a recorded situation of this.
right, one second, Roller. So,
Specifically,
I'm going to just quickly finish up something. So, interestingly enough, it's
Mhm.
probably the reason why they're not able to just summon kaijus at will anymore is because I've got it up on my screen. I had it up on my screen a second ago. Pull it up again. The cosmology. There's this big barrier that's been put around this pocket universe, which prevents any and all movement from outside the universe. So they're going to find it difficult to bring kaijus over.
You're not bringing kaijus over.
No, I know that. Yeah,
they're in the land.
They're creating them from the land. And as I remember correctly, there was a bit of lore a while ago that the only land that was actually colonized by these druids so far was this kind of area right here, which you notice is mostly desert. And when the dragons decided to glass the area, it was to get rid of the druids and their bullshit. This area over here is the only remaining area that I remember. Still has the druids and still has their soil and land. So unless they plan to expand that out somehow, they're going to be kind of limited to this kind of area for now.
So, yes, but also no. The weird thing is there have been other dragons that have been known to enjoy forested or more marshy areas that have started spreading across the land, and more vegetation has been able to grow. The problem is the druids haven't been able to settle in there because the dragons do exist there, so they've been wiping them out.
You know
Is
what's
the
interesting
other
about?
issue.
I just want to mention this. Do you know what's interesting about nature and how nature tends to find a way?
Damn, those are some big balls and tiny penis.
Yeah. So anyway, here's what tends to happen. You end up with a creature that's born in, let's say, Druid land, right? It emerges from that soil. It's birthed in that land. It then goes over into another land. It dies and then fertilizes the soil. What happens to that new soil?
Oh yeah, it's now Druid land soil.
It becomes Druid land.
Yeah. So
it's only a matter of time before every land becomes Druid land.
Oh, definitely.
And kaiju start popping up fucking everywhere.
So so that's what I was gonna say is it makes sense as to why they're weakened now, but I mean we can see there's already forest growing out of this desert. So it's probably not gonna be long before they get their power back.
And one other thing, right? The druids were not necessarily bringing about the kaijus. The druids were there so that the accumulated biological density of an area does not get to the point where it draws energy in to predate on that biological mass. So it typically will only happen in druid lands. You're right. But if the druids aren't there to fucking stop it from just occurring in a lush jungle, which is one of the things that they do, they don't just stop humanity from accumulating, they also cull entire forests so that the biological density is dispersed. They'll tend to do that because, hey, if a kaiju pops up, it's my ass too on the line, right? Like, if I'm a druid, I don't want that to happen. I don't want the fucking Tarask to fucking pop out, or a goddamn Godzilla or a space monstrosity to fucking emerge that is like a predator from a conglomerate like mirror
You know,
biology to our own.
It's
I don't
funny
want
you
that.
mentioned that. There is actually an area in the map called the Badlands, which is exactly what happens. The Badlands is filled with all of the most horrific, powerful creatures you can imagine. Tarrasques, big fucking dinos, absolutely everything. So honestly, it probably makes sense.
You might end up
that
with
there
a
might be druids out there.
twin-headed T-Rex with fucking lightning shooting out of its eyes, right? Just make sure you know that it's not because
we've had
it's the
something
druid's fault.
like that start showing up.
We have had stuff like that show up.
Okay, but it's not because of the druid's fault. It's because the druids aren't there.
Yeah,
right.
We've
Nature
also
is going unchecked now.
We've also had similar ones which are divine as well show up, which is scary as fuck. A literal T-Rex with big ass wings that just floats down from on high and murders people.
But one of the cases that was recorded in Runatria from the guild was actually that of a rust monster, specifically. And this was way back when the Iron Dragon in Io requested the help of the guild, as metal dragon plus rust monster doesn't exactly make for a good day. So he's like, all right, I'll get someone expendable to do it. So he asks the guild. The guild manages to come in. They managed to find a bunch of Dwergar that had broken into this dragon's lair and brought in a couple of rust monsters with them, as they believed that the rust monsters could sense metals. So they were looking for resources and kind of nurturing those creatures to basically be hunting animals for them in some sense. But one of them got, something like that. One of them got too big, and ancient texts have said that rust monsters are actually the precursor to the worst dragon of all kind that nobody could deal with, as it could, if allowed to exist, it could break the fabric of reality and had the ability to destroy the most powerful of magic items, which are artifacts, with relative ease, mind you. And if a rust monster was let to nurture long enough, they supposedly would become a rust dragon. So then, because of this, the adventurers managed to come in after a long and grueling fight, and luckily none of their items were affected by the rust monster at the time. They managed to kill it and get rid of the Dwergar pest problem, as it were.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting you mentioned that, because we've also came across an individual who had the traits of a rust dragon passed down to him. Cedric Darkthorn was an NPC which was able to just straight up annihilate any metal item he contacted. Any magical item as well just went poof.
I believe it was just magical item.
Yeah, straight up magical items for him, yeah.
Gallium that was able to obliterate any metal item.
Gallium, yeah, so his wasn't exactly a trait from a rust monster, but it was from an ancient artifact that is potentially made from either the core of a rust monster, the essence of a rust monster, or something similar.
I could just imagine the evolutionary thing of, oh hey, this is a rust monster. He eats iron or ferric materials. That's cool. And then all of a sudden, well, wait, hold on. Why is he eating adamantium? Uh-oh.
Oh no. Wait, why is he growing wings and sharp teeth?
Yeah.
And then the fucking what's it's the sword of vengeance or whatever the fuck. It's like, oh no, why is he eyeing up this fucking artifact weapon? No. Wait.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Badlands for you. The Badlands is the druid's worst nightmare come to life right now.
It's the druids are like, you guys, stop killing us, we'll take care of that. And then it's like, oh no, you don't want me to take care of that? Okay. You deal with it.
Yeah, we can deal with it later. We just don't care about you. We don't want you to exist. We don't like you.
Yeah. So yeah, the druids are probably going to be a massive, massive threat coming up, I'd imagine. They've just not had the opportunity yet. But now that Oberon and Titania are talking to them, probably massive opportunity there.
They have
Possibility.
all of the opportunities in the world, which is time. If you kill them,
Right.
they reincarnate. If you wait and don't take care of their lands and don't, like, glassify their lands, the land expands because of whatever comes out of there fertilizes your land and becomes other druid
Right.
land.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the recent attack on Salat actually had a ritual circle that held a powerful druid that was strong enough to even create a black hole.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Druids making black holes now? Oh shit.
Yeah, druids can make black holes. They have the ability to condense matter in such a way that they start sucking everything in.
That's
through
They
magic.
could
scary for a druid.
They could potentially use obelisks with glyphs and stuff, like druidic glyphs, to, basically take elemental energy and the material plane and like go, all right, cool, condense. At a certain point, there's gonna be like a gravitational well, but it's probably gonna like feed until it gets critical mass. Then it's gonna explode. Because, unlike real physics, D&D tends to have this thing where
Cumulative physics.
when mass gets condensed to a certain amount, it rebounds. And that's how a lot of like Spelljammer shit works, is like there's like intergalactic fucking like, propulsion systems that are just like, okay, well, we're gonna feed a lot of like, energy from the ethereal plane into this thing, and then it's gonna spew out propulsion that way.
Right.
So the druids clearly have a mastery over magic that some wizards don't even have.
No,
And they can-
not just generic magic, elemental magic.
Yeah, specifically elemental magic.
Elemental and divine.
So they're out there
As
creating literal
druids.
elemental bombs. Got it.
Druidism is a form of divine casting.
Yeah, but it's going to be quite fucking obvious, Aura, when they're doing this, because guess what happens? When a lot of natural energies start to converge, you're going to see a lot of strange shit happening in the area.
Right.
Yeah, exactly what's happened over with the gate. I believe there was the entire place turned literally monochrome, from what I remember.
Originally, a necromancer had settled into there. And they were trying to perform a ritual to become basically a god. And specifically how they were doing that is they were trying to siphon energy from the negative energy plane, which is just pure entropy. It's the land of the dead, but it's also the land of nothing, as the only things that exist there are undead and wastes of desert that are specifically sand and dust.
Yeah.
Through this, he managed to sacrifice an entire town, but due to the actions of adventurers, as he completed the ritual, they managed to force him up against the opening. In doing so, a shade was able to come forth and drag the man back inside. From what we know, that wizard's long dead. There is no air in the negative energy plane. It's just death. It's just entropy. The thing that emerged, though, was known as a Nightwalker. It's a shadow that typically emerges if any living creature decides to go through that kind of opening.
Interesting.
It's also why body snatchers and shit. I don't know if you deal with like mirror worlds and those planes or whatever, Aura, but the greatest thing you can do is put your players in a fucking, fun house mirror section, and then all of a sudden their fucking reflection starts moving when they don't, or it blinks out of sync with them, and they're like, right? They want in, and they have to use you as a replacement when they get out.
Here's the thing:
I
if you
imagine
ever
that
want
would
to
be.
retrieve,
It would either be in the Feywild or the Shadowfell as like a pocket dimension. But other
right?
than that, major planes. This is all we got. This is everything. Everything inside the white lines is what the players can access. Everything bouncing around outside that is either being disintegrated by extremely slowed amount of time, or just barely holding on for existence.
Here's the thing: the negative energy plane is literally what you're describing. It is oblivion. It's everything after life ends.
Ah, okay. In that case, it's just beyond the wall. It's probably part of chaos itself,
Right.
or it's one
Um.
of the time dimensions, which is different, I guess. So it's probably, yeah. You said it's
No, it's
oblivion, which is
It's literally just
Entropy is the end of time too. It's
okay.
the end. Entropy is end.
Right.
It is the end of all things. That plane is the end of all things. The only thing that exists there is undead and nothingness.
It is
Okay.
also called terminus for a reason.
Oh yeah, okay. In that case, it's in an axis that I'm not viewing here, which is the time axis, which is it's at the end of all things. So I guess yeah, entropy exists. I get across all planar realities and times. If you think about it, just
time
different
is
one.
the fourth dimension within our cosmology, right? Time
Yeah.
exists within the bubble of that is our universe. Entropy is the end of the bubble when it pops.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, makes sense to me. Yeah.
But if say anybody who was trying to be rescued from this plane, if they managed to live long enough to be rescued, the only way you can rescue somebody once a Nightwalker has emerged is to push the Nightwalker back into
Right.
the opening.
Right, because they're like a reflection of that person or something.
Something like that. It is a shade, it's like a form of shade of them, but almost every Nightwalker you see is a formless black shade with like glowing blue eyes. That's like a thin and like gangly looking shadow of a creature.
Interesting. Okay, so Runatria has obviously been through a lot. They had to deal with a horde of imps and skeletons that came along with Athron, although they seem to have dealt with them pretty fine. Um, Following the Athron wars, has there been any issues in Runatria? Any like
Here is an image of a Nightwalker, and that is to scale as that's a normal person next to it.
you need to click show all? You need to click the eyeball.
Uh,
There we go. I got it. Yeah, that's actually kind of creepy as fuck.
yep.
Huh. Thing looks more like a demon than a extra dimensional thing. Kind of crazy.
It's an undead.
Oh, it's an undead? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a horrific mockery of what once was of a person.
Yep.
Interesting.
And to be specific, you would think something that big would weigh a lot. There's no mass.
Nope.
Huh.
It is a
It is just a shadow.
It is a vacuous being.
Interesting. I'm assuming it just does a bunch of necrotic damage on touch, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's also been known to break magical items if it ever got its hands onto it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Right, because it's what, doing time damage or something?
It's entropy.
No, it's literally just ruining the thing until it's dust. It turns it all to dust.
Yeah, it fast forwards its time until it doesn't exist. Dusts it. Yeah.
Right.
It
Um,
literally
magic.
will break the bonds of the atoms that are, making up its constitution.
Huh. The more you know. So, what I was going to ask you is right on Renatria's border, right here, a big portion of Edensville just got glassed by the Damocles firing off its main cannon downwards. How is Renatria handling this? Because it is their neighbors. What are their thoughts on it? Are they worried about the Damocles?
So, seeing a power like that has definitely spooked them, not entirely scared them. as they do have other problems to deal with. They've definitely been keeping an eye on the Damocles. Like, to put it into perspective, they've had like several scrying sensors locked onto the Damocles, seeing where it is. If they ever saw it moving, most likely you'd see a literal flight of dragons coming towards it to try and either take it down or take control of it.
Okay, interesting. So if the guild or another faction decides they want to take on the Guardian and the Damocles, is Runatria going to assist?
It depends. If they make no claim to use it against the country of Runatria, they won't mind assisting. If they do, they will either do nothing and see what happens, or they will actively try and fight them as they're fighting the Guardian.
All right. Are they okay? So obviously, there's been a lot of villains recently. Albion's had Scrat and Skitherix. We've had Atheron. We've now got the Orb. You guys have your druids and your entropy creatures to deal with. The demons and devils are coming up from below.
Aura,
Yes.
I just want to mention something. I think you've made a terrible. Whoever has decided to have an orbital cannon that can be pointed at the druids has made a terrible mistake.
This thing?
Do you know why?
Why?
Because what happens if the druids go, you are affecting the top layer of the ground. Purple worms, we're gonna fucking crawl into you and become a subterranean, threat that can pop out on any nation now. Don't give them those ideas. Don't do that. That's bad.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Amazing idea. Well, if you don't know much about the Damocles, this thing was concocted by the biggest moron to ever exist. The great Bavoromir. It was his life's work. He enslaved the Dwarger and a whole lot of people to build it. It was his personal castle. And it was literally just a big flex of, I have big penis gun.
Look at my dick, it's so big, I have a big fucking gun.
Literally the biggest flex he could do. So yeah, it's literally built by the biggest moron in history, as most people refer to him as, at least the players do anyway. Thank fuck he's dead. Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see the druids go and try to take this. Actually, I think you should definitely maybe do a co-session with the runner at Edensville, Zenark, and see what you can do there, because that'd be an interesting side quest.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, but
whether or not they're able to take on the obelix that controls the thing is an entirely different thing, though.
You were going to say something about villains before you went on that
tangent. Oh, right, yeah. So there's been a bunch of villains recently, and Runatria has been a weirdly kind of peaceful place with most of their quests just deal with this small thing here. There's not been any massive villains that I know about that the players have continued to talk about.
You would think. The current biggest problem is mainly that acid storm that's around here.
Yeah, the acid storm.
That they've had multiple quests have been done there. It's like several dragons have become problems, but to a party of experienced adventurers, even an adult dragon can become a non-issue to them. But there have been notable members that have been popping up. Like several dragonborn in dragon masks. Here is one of them.
Interesting.
We have another one here.
It's a dragonborn druid. Isn't that like heresy?
Yeah. Weirdly enough, there are some druid circles that worship draconic gods. Here is another one. Fallen paladin, specifically.
Interesting.
It stands to reason that any druidic cult that worships a dragon would have something, or at least swears fealty to any entity on a world tree, would also probably say, hey, that dragon that's nibbling at its branches, yeah, we chill. You know what I
So,
mean?
Yeah.
yeah, you would think, but these dragons specifically, I believe, are. Isn't there a Circle of Fire druid?
Sure, in D&D land, yeah.
Yeah, there's a sort of Circle of Haze as well, and Circle of Fire. Yeah.
Specifically
Circle of
the
Wildfire, I
Circle
think
of
they're called.
Fire.
They're called the Circle of Wildfire. Their whole thing is burning down forests to cull and control life.
So, druids under that circle do worship the great dragon god, Ashardon.
Okay.
I believe it's Ashardon. Let me make sure.
That is a very unfortunate name.
Yeah, I just saw that as well.
Or Shardalon.
Because you know what will happen with players. They're
Yeah.
gonna giggle and they're gonna say, "His name is I shard on. I shard on you." You know it. I know it.
Exactly
Everyone
what I was
knows it.
thinking. He's got our shard on, bro.
Yeah, it is a Shardon, and they refer to him as like the Great Dragon of Fire, specifically as he is a red dragon, and they worship him through the act of destruction, so that rebirth may happen. So Druidism itself is an outright banned. It is not looked on kindly, especially in places like Salat.
Yeah. I guess it just depends what part of faction you're from, right? Because the Runatrian druids are the
Right.
true problem.
The original Runatrian druids are the true problem, but there are a few druids who do exist as known throughout green dragons, black dragons. They do enjoy to live in forests and have been known to take command of the wooded areas through their own draconic might and just ambient magical power. So there are some people within Runatria who do wish to recreate that kind of power.
Yeah. So finishing the kind of thought I was going through is obviously you as a player have come across the League of Evil or whatever they call themselves multiple times. We've got Gramps, Granny, Eld, all the crazy people up in Albion. Have any of them been cited in Renatria? Because we know that they have kind of dispersed among the countries currently.
Not that I know of. Not that I've planned specifically. I don't believe they would go to Renatria. They might do it as a last resort, as Renatria to most, especially non-draconic people, are kind of hostile. Unless you somehow manage to get in touch with the druids, or say get in touch with the Draconic Rebellion in Kroll, you're not most non-draconic beings are going to be exactly welcomed there. Most will be like seen as kind of slaves for the most part, and best of terms. So they'll kind of dismiss you and think you don't hold any power there. At worst, they might just kill you and think you're a snack.
So it would be kind of. I mean, it would probably be the unexpected place to go, right? So there may very well be a couple of them hiding out while they've been kind of quiet recently.
They could be. It's very hard though to be quiet, especially in a group of dragons.
Yeah, because we know from like past events that they have been behind some of the world's most horrific incidents. Atheron coming to power, the Vormir being reincarnated, the awakening of
some help with players not doing things.
Yeah, the destruction of Eldoria, the hordes of Hull, Tiamat being reincarnated. Like they were secretly behind a whole lot of these problems that the players have encountered over time. I guess the next question would be, how does Runatria currently view its neighbors? We've got the super racist Albion up above. McCann we know that they like, and then we have got Edensville, and
Well,
then the
more so,
Bonelands.
they don't exactly like them. They don't hate them or tolerate them. It's kind of like on neutral terms with McCann because it's like, oh hey, I supply you with this thing, you give us other thing.
Yeah,
When it
trade
comes to
deal.
the others, when it comes to like Edensville, like where the Damocles is, it's like they're very close to being openly hostile with them. Especially with what's there and they know what it can do, especially with what's happened. It's like they are very close to being openly hostile with them and just going straight for like territorial takeover.
Mm.
Um, old
Especially now that
world
it's been kind of
knowledge.
fractured.
Old world knowledge here. If you would want, there are, because druids don't like when civilizations hunker down too long because they accumulate lots and lots of biomass and bad things happen.
Right.
But if you wanted, you could totally do the what they did before when they still were in their own world, nomadic civilizations. You could have a really big ruling body of people that whether they go and raid other people because they were also about that. Hey, you raid a civilization that's settled? Yes, please. Right? Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or you end up with a like smattering of tribes that come together and they come together to celebrate one or two things over the course of like a year, and then they disperse again. They have like festivities or whatever. Nomadic
Right.
civilizations are definitely up their alley, and the Makan, being as they are, they are a gigantic mechanical ziggurat species that has slaves pulling giant fucking constructs around the giant desert that they were a part of. They're nomadic. They wanted to get water. They wanted to get other power sources to expand their influence over over the lower class. Unfortunately, the the upper class are now the slaves, and the slave robots are now the ruling class. But the civilization mostly remains the same.
Right.
But they would have absolutely everything in common with them in terms of like, yeah, you don't stay in one place. You don't want to just plop down and settle. You are open to traversing different areas and taking people from their lands. We like that. We agree, right? They would totally be on side with helping the Makan because that's what they're about. The druids are about. Now, I don't know. This green area tends to have a lot of fucking major cities for being in a Runatria land right now. So
yeah. For reference, by the way, 1 day travel by carriage is like a square. So, that's like if there's no rough terrain, if there's roads, etc. So that's 1 day's
Sure.
travel. So these cities are like 22 days apart by carriage, etc. So there's like lots of little towns in between these things. I think Runatria is one of those weird things where it's like these are the locations. There's not really a whole lot in between. But in Albion, there'd be like between here and here, it'd be like 20, 25 villages.
Right. Well, yeah, Renatria is definitely an exception to that, where there's going to be large swaths of nothing, especially because dragons are going to be living there. So it's like, they know carts need to travel between the cities, so they typically don't screw with transportation of something like that. Hey, hell, they might even actively like help out and make sure there aren't any problems that show up, because they don't want people coming after them, because they know adventurers exist that are strong enough to casually deal with a dragon, as been reported. Um, as there have been quite a few problematic dragons that have been dealt with over time, ever since. So
Yeah.
the reason
So,
I mention
you were saying, Martin?
The reason I mention it is so that you can have like a reason for the Renatrian people to, deal with the Makan, because they are not also stayed in one place.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, if
Yeah.
you do have a lot of places that stay in one place, they should absolutely, like, unequivocally be in constant siege of, like, raiders, berserkers, the druids trying to sabotage things. The druids are just as likely to poison the land and then cure it later, or poison it and then see what poisonous creatures emerge from the land that can deal with the atmosphere and toxic plants and shit, than they are to give clear passage through those poisonous lands. Like, they are very much the types that would go, I'm going to make a problem and then sell it to you. But you got to make sure that you adhere to what we want, and that is, don't settle in these fucking places, or we need you to go and attack these people. They could just as well propagandize, like, oh, this civilization has this evil lord, and we need adventurers to go and kill the evil lord, quote unquote. Well, the evil lord might actually be leading a prosperous city with a whole bunch of trade because it is in a strategic geographic location. But to the druids, the ends justify the means, and who the fuck cares if a hapless, unawares adventurer is any the wiser? They don't give a shit, right? Hey, adventure party, go raid this. There's riches here. They could also tell that to the fucking dragons too, if there are any like new hatchlings that are like, I want to make a name for myself, rawr, right? Yeah, go ahead. That's the druids are playing the long game, and they don't have to get their own hands dirty because they're mostly trying to quell the land of making kaijus.
Right.
That's basically their motif. The moment that they have to start doing something other than that is the moment that they're like, all right, fuck around, find out, fuckers, right? Like, we'll stand back. We'll go into hiding. We'll take purple worms under the fucking ground, and then, just wait it out until all hell breaks loose above.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at now, I think, right?
But on top of that, like, there are still dragons that are causing problems. Like, quite a few of them aren't to the point where they want to ask adventurers to go deal with it because they think they need to actually take care of it. But it's like, there's still plenty of infighting within the country itself, as the dragons are there in like a tenuous relationship. They're not all buddy-buddy with each other. Like, sure, all the metallic dragons are, but it's like, so many chromatics are having territorial like death matches with each other, most likely getting a few caravans caught in the crossfire as well. And it's like,
because like that's the downside of when you try to squish all these, what was it, a couple hundred or 1,000 dragons or something into the area. It's not a big area.
There's at least 200 adult dragons.
Yeah,
there's
200 adult
others
dragons.
of other age categories that are varying amounts, but there's plenty more like young or like wormlings.
Yeah, there's very few ancient. Like, there are few and far between. So
maybe 10 ancients in total.
Yeah, so
that are known at least.
Normally, like, typically, if like they weren't forced into this tiny space, like you would consider it tiny for a dragon population, these things would be countries apart. You wouldn't see like maybe 5 dragons in a country ever.
Yeah, reason being you don't hear too many like dragon versus dragon territorial deathmatch things, is they're literally across the continent most of the time. The one time you do think about it is because, say, new dragons have emerged and they're like being greedy about it because obviously they want more.
And more importantly, you also hear about it because there were survivors. Typically there aren't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And typically dragons, when they do clash, you can hear it. You can definitely hear it from a long way away.
The land changes when they clash.
In fact, more
that's
recently,
why
there have been dragons that have been spotted in other countries, and they've been being dealt with because they're literally leaving Runatria to try and make their own claim on lands that already exist.
But yeah, like the sparse places that are slowly growing back vegetation is because there's a single dragon that's been able to keep the land there and is now starting to affect it. Otherwise, most of these other places, there's probably a sort of death match going on somewhere.
Hmm. I think there was a player that brought this up a while ago, but obviously because of how varied the dragons' personalities are, um, they originally seemed to have been on the side of everyone, the people of this world. But what if Asmodeus approached some of the dragons? Would he be able to convince them to join the evil side?
Yes and no. If Asmodeus is willing to then restore Tiamat to her former glory and have her basically become another agent of his, without a doubt, plenty of chromatics will come along because, the god that created them will most likely make them.
Hmm.
Like,
I
yes,
believe
they
I
were
believe he
created by
did
Tiamat.
try. I believe he did try. There was a whole thing where he gave Tiamat's portfolio to Atheron, and he was supposed to give it to Tiamat, but he completely forgot.
Yeah, well, completely forgot, took it for himself. Take your pick on that
Yeah.
one. But yeah, originally there was a plan for Atheron to restore Tiamat to her former glory, and if she got her portfolio back, she most likely would have broken herself free from that dragon engine and like made an avatar on the spot and started wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
Um,
We've got no
the
idea
thing
what happened to
is,
that portfolio, by the way. It's just been lost. Like, straight up
oh yeah,
lost.
yeah, it's literally lost to time at the moment. But like for the most part, the the chromatics, most of them probably wouldn't willingly go with um Asmodeus because it's like they're evil, but they know that man is the ruler of hell. That's a sort of evil we don't want to fuck with.
He's
Hold
so
on. It's
evil,
not
he
even.
moved
It's
his
not even.
new
It's
castle
not
to
even like.
France.
It's not even as grandiose as that. Dragons like to be their own masters.
This is
That's
They
also
all
true.
they already know what sort of master Tiamat is as their progenitor. Why the fuck would they entrust their own futures to someone who isn't even their progenitor?
Let alone someone that's known literally for being the god of lies, trickery, evil, and deception.
Well, there's
No,
that,
no,
but
no.
that's why
That
I'm saying
that's too grandiose. He's not a dragon. He's inferior. Why the fuck would
exactly.
You're right.
that's all there is to it.
You're right.
Dragons
That's
are
why
prideful.
I'm saying yes, but no. If Tiamat was freed and willingly followed Asmodeus, she would most likely command any like chromatic dragons within the vicinity to follow her and do what she wanted.
Mm.
Because, God and progenitor of the creations, so the creations don't really get a say.
Multi-headed
Um,
mom says do something, and she cracked
basically.
the whip. Yeah, multi-headed mom gets her way.
Yeah.
Basically, then it would just restart the war between Bahamut and Tiamat at that point.
Mm.
If Bahamut was ever, you know, awakened in that sense.
Yeah, because
Also, every
there's a whole
dragon that
problem
would
behind that, isn't there?
every
Yeah, there's a
dragon that
whole
would follow
problem.
her. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mentog.
Well, yeah, there's a whole problem with that being, um, the platinum dragon is too busy being a senile old man.
Well, sort of. Also, yeah, there's a bit more to that. The
That's the big
guildmaster
part.
knows. I think the guildmaster's the only one that knows why. But let's see.
Well, there was another member, but he's not here anymore.
Let's say the platinum dragon ain't all there, physically or spiritually.
Why do you think he's senile?
Yeah.
So anyway, do you know? It would almost be a presupposition to even like, assume that Tiamat is quote unquote willfully following Asmodeus. Every single
Yeah, it's basically
chromatic
with
dragon,
air quotes.
every single chromatic dragon, without question, would already assume that Tiamat is using him. And it would be like, well, yeah, I'm going to follow her because she's not under his fucking beck and call, right? The moment that Tiamat becomes a supplicant follower of Asmodeus is the exact moment that every chromatic dragon goes, well, I lose all respect for you. Goodbye.
Yeah, seems about right.
Here's the thing. The dragons have already made that statement. They've lost all respect for their dragon gods already.
Ah, yes.
Why
There's
do
a
you think
particular
there
one.
are no... Why do you think specifically there are no dragon clerics or paladins or like of that sort that require faith in a god?
Other than the matriarch herself, which was known to be a cleric from what I remember.
She was actually a fighter.
That was a fighter? I thought she was a cleric.
Yes.
Oh.
She was a fighter.
I knew that she was like the high priest as well of the country. That's the other thing I knew. I think.
Technically ruling high priest in that sense, but functionally, not a cleric or a paladin.
Oh. Okay, fair enough. But paladins are different.
Scripture.
Paladins can just use their own faith in themselves. Never don't need to be a god.
You
but
can recite as much scripture as you want, unless you have an actual divine calling. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No. Here's the thing: dragons don't need connection to a divinity to cast divine magic. They are the connection to divinity because they were made by divine beings.
So we know that before these dragons came to Jorah, they were actually originally from a plane where dragons ruled supreme. They ruled that world. They controlled that world.
Not all the dragons are from Abir. A large chunk of them are from the original.
I'm talking about TCR lore here, not D&D lore. They all came from a particular. We've not named the plane. We've never named the plane. The only thing we do know is that Akusad, also known as Sablethorn, used to be their ruler. Used to be the god, the king of all dragons. Because he was the direct descendant of Io. That was the whole reason.
Yeah, before he got mounted by the barbarian king.
Yeah.
Nobody really had a way to challenge that is the reason why they kind of accepted it.
Yeah, and ever since he was dethroned by Axios back in the day, and then eventually his own child was...
Hold on. He became the throne. Be honest.
You're right.
Yeah. He said, and I quote, "Oh no, Daddy Axios, please do not sit on me." And Axios sat on him.
Yeah.
And he said, "Fly that direction."
Sit on you.
Eventually, his child was used as a mount, and then subsequently turned into a Draco Lich for Axios, which is now his current body.
He took over that body, which I don't know why he's complaining about. There should be more salt on that wound for Akusad.
So yeah, it's more salt on the wound for Akusad. One of his children was literally turned into a meat puppet for the guy who turned him into a chair.
Exactly. Why is Axios more pissed about it than Akusad?
Because Axios is all about meritocracy through one's own actions. He is the god of conquest, and he is the all-bearer of titles.
Yeah.
So it goes against basically his entire, being.
Yeah, to have something just happen to you because someone else wished it is like, bitch, I didn't earn this.
Fuck, why'd you do this, you son of a bitch?
I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to learn the fucking spell, bitch.
I don't think he didn't.
He didn't need to do anything to live forever because the motherfucker's literally too angry to die.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's also a god, so technically he got downgraded.
Yeah, he got majorly downgraded. He had to go. He had to go steal a portfolio. But anyway, so the question about Akusad was going to be how now that he's reawakened and is currently no longer a silver dragon and is currently more or less. I think he's a black dragon now.
He's a black dragon.
He's now a black dragon because his scales have rotted and he has been cursed by another god.
Right.
How does his former country view him? How does his former citizens view him?
The country of Runatria, hearing about it, seeing what he's become, they kind of think he's weak. He let
Really?
himself get captured.
Alright.
He let himself get corrupted, and he let himself basically fall into almost what they believe is willing slavery.
Mm. Yeah, fair enough.
They hold no respect for him. They hold no respect for him. They acknowledge he has the strength still, probably, but why would they care? As long as he's not touching Runatria, they probably won't deal with him or acknowledge him.
If he ever does come into Runatria, what's going to happen then?
At this point, most likely a mobilization of most of their army just to assault him if he tries anything like that. And then praying to the gods that the Orb of Dragonkind works on the Queen's part.
That is going to need some massive praying.
Aura,
Here's the thing. She has several. And they all have varying effects. The major one is control of a dragon.
Aura, you have to understand, when you fall like that, your previous, subjects don't look at you as like, oh no, you've returned, we must kill you out of fear. No,
yeah, they look at you like, damn you a bitch.
It's an apathetic extermination.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the whole reason he got cursed in the first place was because he went in a fight with Asmodeus and lost. And then the gods were like, you failed to protect the realm that we assigned you to protect, and now Asmodeus has taken over the realm, you're cursed. Goodbye.
On the other hand, it's like if he decides to attack Runatria, the Queen might see it as an opportunity, because if she can subjugate him, who the dragons have spoken saying he is the strongest of them, she would effectively take that title and then become like the venerated ruler of Runatria. Like, because not all the dragons currently agree with the current queen.
Oh yeah, much is evident with the Tiamat faction, the Warring faction, her faction, and the druids aren't dragons, so we'll ignore them.
Right.
But, yeah. But she ain't got the best, tight knit on her faction so far.
You would think. But if she can rein in Akusad, she now has the ultimate weapon and would effectively, outside of, Asmodeus, become the strongest being there is here.
Also, that dragon probably would not want that to happen or even risk that happening, so they probably wouldn't try and invade anyway, knowing that that could occur.
Outside.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We can definitely assume Akusad knows Runatria has possession of these artifacts, as he could probably sense them.
Akusad, although he is a big walking mound the size of a couple of cities. He is probably
several cities.
One of the smartest and strongest dragons to have ever existed. His magical prowess, ability to scry, just general knowledge, and the alliance he's built over time with Count Silas and lackeys, he definitely would put up a formidable force against Runatria. He's not dumb enough to walk in there where there's orbs of dragonkind just sitting.
Oh no, without a doubt. I was about to say, though, each orb of dragonkind the reason why it holds such power is because it is created by capturing a dragon's soul into said orb.
Yeah.
Those of weak will fully be possessed and possibly become that dragon if they ever get their hands on it, which is why none have been seen outside of Runatria, if at all.
Also, I wanted to just mention one other thing. It wouldn't even come to that, because the moment that a gigantic walking biomass enters into that fucking area is the moment that the druids would be like, okay, you know this like thing that we were saving where all of the locusts in the ground just emerge at once and wipe out all of human civilization in one fucking get-go, because the Geneva Convention is just a bunch of suggestions, right?
Like, no, they don't exist here.
The Geneva suggestions,
they're
no, it's
basically
not even
like
Geneva suggestions. It's Geneva non-existent because dragons already use chemical warfare by existing.
I believe it's called the Runatrian checklist.
Just a checklist, exactly. So, that walking biomass walks into here. The queen doesn't get a chance to try and control him. We end up going on a fucking field day experiment where the dragon becomes like Space Godzilla and can now like absorb fucking other dragons' essences and loses its fucking mind with power. And now they would go, all right, fuck it, destroy civilization.
I'm gonna
be honest. We're gonna go underground now.
If Akisad was ever made that deal by the druids, he'd probably take the deal.
No deal. No
deal just happened.
Oh, this isn't a deal. This is going to happen.
Well,
if he walks foot on that ground, it happens.
All right, that is noted.
If the tip of his fucking claw just doinks the fucking ground 1 centimeter into the fucking area, and then touches ground, like he is going to have so much elemental energy surge into his fucking body that he is forcefully undergoing a elemental evolution, and now he's gonna have like fucking crystals sprouting out of every fucking orifice of his body.
Cool. I now have an idea, and I'm going to retcon something for that.
Like
that. So
you don't
sounds super
understand.
Awesome.
That's the reason why you don't have that much biomass in one place.
Yeah. So if Akisad ever moves down there, and there's a very good reason he might actually end up down there, he'll probably just take it. He'll probably just be like, yes, please, more power. Yes. Because now that he's woke up, he's ready for round 2 Electric Boogaloo with good old Asmodeus. He is hyping himself up to go down south, breach that ice wall, go to France, and knock the living shit out of Asmodeus.
You're thinking too small for dragons again. Listen to me. The moment that a smart, intelligent dragon has basically lost its mind to power, the first thing it's going to do is say more. You give a mouse a cookie, he'll want some more. So what'll happen is he goes down there, gets transfused, loses his fucking mind with fucking elemental power. The first thing he's going to do is look up, not south. He's going to look up. He's going to see a floating fucking fortress of like cosmic beam that can classify deserts, and he's going to go, I want you as part of me.
I didn't even consider the Damocles. The Damocles does have a massive gemstone at its center, a massive essence stone. So yeah, that probably seems like a big nice snack if that ever has to happen to him.
So if that ever happens, I already have an idea of what's going to happen, and I'm going to take a little kind of modify something from Tolkien, where it's like, you know how in Tolkien, like elves are technically immortal, but like if their physical bodies can't hold the essence of the elf, you know what happens, right?
They explode?
Yes, exactly. Now, imagine that, except with a giant dragon. But before that happens, the body starts deteriorating. And instead of pure elemental energy, it becomes necrotic energy as that happens. So as he starts falling apart, it then starts animating and creates a zombie apocalypse.
Oh, that sounds horrific. It works very well for a black dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
The only reason Akusad has not went down south yet is he still has like a few dozen silver scales left, and he is considering, that exact scenario where he doesn't want to accidentally wipe out, the remnants of civilization on this plane that isn't obviously demons or devils. So it's a ticking clock. It's definitely a ticking clock. As soon as that clock hits 0, we're sprinting to the finish line. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. The other thing keeping him in check is the giant ass castle on his head that was controlled by Silas, that was controlling the Durgan. Like a crown.
Does that castle still exist? I thought no, that was the city that got fucked.
I think there's something on his back. I think there was a city on his back now. I'll need to double check with Rats on that one, to be honest.
No, there was originally a city on his back, but then
Galleon was sleeping,
did a whole thing of touching his stuff, and then everything got fucked.
Eldoria was built on top of him, but I think now there's another city on his back. I'll need to double check with Rats on that, but this thing is fucking massive, man.
Bitch, you built a city on a dragon and it fell apart as soon as he moved. What makes you think you're going to build another fucking one while he's awake?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know how to double check, but yeah.
If I had to guess, and how I would do it, if you're asking me, I would make sure that the city is built off of a whole bunch of fucking ball bearings that could be locked in place, so that when it moves around, there's like dampening.
That'd probably make sense.
And like I don't know, maybe
kind of like
have
how
like
earthquake proof cities like in Japan are built.
Yeah, with like a central column that sways counterweight.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. Now, if it was me for like a medieval ancient civilization, that would be like the most straightforward way. Now, I say straightforward, but like it would still be a fucking engineering marvel.
Yeah, well, that's interesting you mentioned that. We've recently came out of the pure medieval era, and we've entered the kind of start of steampunk in the last 10, 20 years.
Here's the thing. When we say medieval era, people still had huge innovations back then, especially if we're going to look at real world scenarios. Just look at Egypt. Like they've existed since like the fucking Bronze Age or whatever, and they've had they were able to make shit like the pyramids without having complex machinery in the sense of like forklifts, all that junk, like modern machines.
Well, they use their version of forklifts, which were counterweight lifts.
Well, yes, but they also built it with such accuracy.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Like, people still have the ability to build this kind of thing, even with limited, in air quotes, limited technology in comparison to like the real world.
Yeah.
But
although it's not majorly common, there are innovators out there that are using kind of steampunk technology to better lives and improve. More importantly, people with a lot of money. If you have a lot of gold, you're going to attract these fuckers.
If we're talking about just world building, by the way, you can easily explain this because some players, you end up with those types that say, well, if this civilization has been around for thousands of years and they're like the peak of civilization and they've been on top forever, why haven't they innovated? Because like look at our real world, like it doesn't make. Look, all you need to do is this.
Innovations are hard.
Say, all right, do you know what happened when China ended up making porcelain? Do you know what happened? They stopped innovating everywhere else.
Oh.
They said this is a super glass. They said this is super glass. We don't need to invest in anything else. Once you have something like magic, there's no reason to go, but what if we grow plants that what if we grow plants that can, cure most wounds? You're not gonna fucking worry about that because part of the fucking clergy is gonna be able to go, all right, lay on hands, boom, you're healed of whatever the fuck. You're gonna go there to get it.
Funny enough, most innovations in real life were made during wars or times of necessity. like we are in a time of necessity right now. There's not a whole lot of wars going on, but Albion in particular, if we look at them as an example, they have had hordes of zombies, hordes of demons and devils absolutely ravage the people. They've got Acusad roaming about the country squashing people. They've got kobolds murdering people, general animals. Like, the population of Albion has not been kind to itself currently. Just as an example.
And that puts a situation, to put like a real life example to it. Albion is kind of in the stage where it's like it's probably at its lowest point, kind of like how Germany was in after World War One, where it's like they are literally looking for somebody to lead them in a direction and rebuild. They don't care what it will do later as long as they can rebuild and get something back.
Yeah, they actually had a lot of their recent steampunk technology come up from Edensville, which is where Dolph was, Dolph the Kobold, and he's a massive innovator. He loves screwing about with new technology. He loves putting stuff together. He loves inventing guns, etc. So they've kind of had him move up from Edensville. They've had Calcatea, who was like a new nation that, you know, they had to find a bunch of really good smiths. So they had, what was his name, Throg? Or Calrix?
Yeah, Throg.
They found Throg and Calrix, who were both originally outcasts, but are now massive innovators in stuff like the Eshi, or like just general firearms, etc. Like, kind of relatively new ones. But in comparison to Runatria has been kind of comfy.
Runatria is very comfy, but they are under constant fire in some form because they have their own problems. They're still innovating stuff because, like, while it looks comfy, there's always this underlying tension of something's going to start a fight.
Yeah.
Like, because you're dealing with some of the most volatile creatures in the sense of personality, all condensed in one place. So it's like plenty of people are innovating stuff to make sure these fights don't break out. Like,
yes, I'd imagine Runatria's innovation is more in like defense and structure and stuff like that, stuff to prevent homes from collapsing during two dragons going brawling.
Well, yeah, there's definitely that, but like there's still so much offensive stuff because the threat of, because most dragons would like to live because they want to hoard more stuff and they want to become more powerful. They don't want to die. And it very much goes into that, especially with the chromatics.
I'm guessing is Runatria's innovations currently in Magic, because I think it was only 15 years ago in World we had the weave limit, where absolutely no one other than dragons could cast anything above a third level spell. That was it. It was just, and you tried to do that, you went pop.
I want to mention this because it'll explain away a whole lot of shit if people ask. If you're telling them, or someone, rather, if they're telling you, well, hey, with all of this, constant pressure, and there needs to be innovation, why isn't there? Well, it's very fucking easy to explain that. Number one, what happens if you kill all of the teachers off in a raid?
Exactly.
Right? Like, the next generation is less intelligent and there's less accumulation of knowledge. Number two, how many people in the world can afford to actually, like, learn how to read and write and let alone perform experiments and innovate when there's a constant fucking threat around? And number three, right? How do you feed a fucking army? Well, the vast majority of people are going to be in serfdom. Like, we ain't got time. We're constantly under siege, and the aristocrats aren't even able to hum-dee-dum lift their, crystalline glasses for cheers when there's a fucking ballista constantly hitting their buildings. Like, no, they don't have time to be bureaucrats.
Yeah, so the rest of Britannia, it's mostly been an economic issue. So that's why people like Dolph, who have accumulated a lot of wealth, have started distributing this steampunk technology. But with regards to Runatria, they've had money, they've had comfortability, they've had time.
It's so rich.
Up until
It's
just
so
15
rich
years
and
ago, they had all control of magic in Britannia. Because the
Right.
weave in Britannia was completely devoid because of the ice wall that was recently patched. They recently patched the weave 15 years ago in game.
Outside of that, there's also the thing that Mystra has done, one of the several Mistras that have existed, where they've put a cap on spell, like pure magic, to where like the highest echelon any normal person can cast is a ninth level
It's now
spell.
9th level. Before that it was 3rd level because Mr. was like, no. Or whoever, I think it was Morden was in charge at the time. It was like, no. Anything above 3rd level I'm not fucking with. Fuck you. And then it got released up to 9th level, and now we're in a position where it's like, oh no, suddenly everyone else has 9th
that's
level
still
again.
not true, because the cap is actually around 7th, 8th level spells.
Yeah.
For a normal
For like a normal person. But like, yeah, so what I was trying to say is, like, up until relatively recent, Runatria has not had any problems. Even when people try to invade them, they just breathe fire on them or breathe ice on them or whatever, and they're fine. And then suddenly,
when it comes to other countries, it's mostly a non-issue because they have so much might they don't need to care.
And then suddenly, in the last
within their own country,
what's it been? The last 5 in-game years, we've had the Damocles situation, Atheron situation, Accusad situation. We had the the dungeons falling from the sky. We've had extra dimensional beings coming in and fucking shit up. So I think Runatria is probably at that position where they're going to start innovating quite heavily, because they're looking over here like, that just blew up a country.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if they haven't found things like creatures like Durgathoth and haven't dealt with them. Durgathoth is going to be there, going to try and manhandle the weave, in the sense of he's going to find a way to make more power for himself. And most of these other dragons are also going to find this way themselves, whether it be through creating arms or just literally wrenching magic to their own will so that they can do what they want.
Also, one of the important aspects.
If they do that, by the way, they are going to find out real fast why they shouldn't be doing that.
One other thing that's really important to note is that even in the real world, when you are constantly at war, right? If you are not given a chance to be isolated or to have an extended peacetime, you don't have innovation, because if it's not an innovation for war itself or defense, literally like just waging the war outside or defense inside, if you don't have one of those two things, you do not have the peacetime requirement for, the logistics or the buildup or even the education or any of that other shit to warrant the reason to do that. Because real life, look at the difference between what happens in a country like, the Isles of the United Kingdoms compared to the Middle East. The Middle East is constantly at fucking war. Guess what? They're basically only by the grace of the West that they are outside of the fucking Stone Age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they use that knowledge to fucking blow each other up still.
Yeah.
They don't have a fucking chance.
Here's
to
the
innovate.
weird thing. In Runatria, there's almost a weird constant state of war, but like it's not even with itself, it's between the 4 factions in some sense, but almost all of them have never touched Meshox, really. Meshox is the one place where non-combat related innovations have been able to thrive. Nobody has touched that city, nobody's assaulted it at the moment.
I'm presuming most of them are comfort based, because it's going to be like, oh, we're going to go over here for a vacation and then we're going to return to fighting each other. I'm guessing.
Kind of. Because Meshox is known as the residential city. It's almost exclusively for non-war. Like, almost every person that goes there has, like, knows there's some form of non-aggression pact that exists within this city.
Yeah.
I would venture a guess that any intelligent or knowledgeable person would find that very suspicious, given that
100%.
druids do not like people, congregating in one
Exactly.
area too long.
Oh, definitely.
So,
Definitely sus.
it's all peaceful. Everyone can join here. Are we sure? Well, yeah, no one has ever attacked, and the druids just let us be. Okay, why?
Yeah, sus.
Right.
Next session
And
in
it's like-
Grogar's country. The druids are here. Oh
Ki-
no.
It's kind of the same thing in Kroll, but for a different reason. Because, like, other races are allowed to be there, and for the most part, it's a thriving trade city. And that's mainly due to who's leading it. There's a person who has enough strength to literally keep this city safe and basically not have any war really touch it. Yes, there have been a few attacks by rare few creatures that have been bold enough to attack it, but most of them have been dealt swiftly if they did.
Here's one thing that would be fucking kind of pernicious if you wanted to take this. Yeah, the druids don't attack this city. And they're a lot of people ask the questions why. Well, what if, now just hear me out, we allow skinwalkers to go in there and replace someone? And when that happens, the guy that used to come in there and then goes back along his merry way after his vacation, quote unquote, he goes back out, leads armies, does the normal things, has the same memories the other guy did before, and then the long game is the druids will just go, all right, activate.
Oh, sleeper agent style?
Maybe.
That'd be crazy.
It could be, or alternatively, it could just be that, like, there are just druids that are in control of that city, or like they are the ones that are leading humanity towards some sort of like dead end or like trapping with innovation, that like you are going to use the technology that currently works under normal circumstances, but the moment that you go and try and utilize it for some sort of like utility purposes outside of its intended purpose, it's a bomb. Like, you don't know what kind of hidden, etched, like, enchanted, fucking imbued druidic magic might be within something that is like perhaps it looks like a normal spell scroll, but
or
yeah,
hear me out. So we know that demons and devils have taken over the rest of the world. The world is basically one-to-one real world to this world. And we're only in Britannia. This is all we got. The rest of the world is demons and devils. Except America. We'll talk about America later. So,
America.
What if the druids are just pretending to be fucked right now? And secretly, like you said, they are, taking over the heads of countries or important positions to guide people towards starting to remove the demons and devils from the rest of the plane. Because you know what's worse than a lot of biomass in one place? A lot of biomass that doesn't die in one place. Because demons and devils, when they die, return to the abyss or the Nine Hells respectively, and then they just come back.
Hold on. That's false. They do die.
Let me add on to this.
Oh, they do die, but their soul is recycled, and if they're a particularly strong demon or devil, they just come back a little bit weaker, or if you're a specific devil, you come back a little bit stronger.
Sure, but before we
on that
whole nature,
on that whole nature, I'm going to say this: if you kill a demon or devil in the material plane, they don't die permanently. Basically, their soul is sent back to their home plane. If you kill them there, then they're permadead. But onto the thing with the skinwalkers. As stated before, dragons have the ability to shapeshift into humans.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how many people in Meshox or in other cities are actually dragons if they don't want to reveal themselves. Because there are plenty of dragons, like silver dragons, gold dragons, like a chunk of the metallics. They love doing something what's known as going human. They love living a life as a human. So,
I think conversely,
there
there are also
could be-
druids that can shapeshift into a dragon form, right? Mark?
Metallic and
Yes, that
prismatic
is
dragons
true.
would. Chromatic dragons are like, why the fuck would I ever spend? Like, it would have
Why
to be a
do
means
few
to an end.
chromatic dragons do not do this or don't have the ability to?
Because
They,
first
because
and
why
foremost,
would they not be a dragon? It's the
right,
clearly
exactly.
best
Why would I?
form.
Why would I be a human when I could be me?
Why would I
Yes.
debase myself? Is
Exactly.
that idea? But as I
It's like
said,
having two
Meshox
Rogars.
is still a dragon. That the fuck.
It's like having two Rogars into one shot. It's horrifying.
God damn it! But no, it's
Or
like
two Bardas, and almost
Meshox
worse.
is still a city that's filled with dragons. You just don't know how many is there.
Hmm.
So
Well, there's an easy way to figure it out.
theoretically, everybody could be a dragon. Like, you know, there are dragonborn that also live there, other draconic races and whatnot. But there are also non-draconic races that clearly live there.
Well,
How
there's an
many are
easy way to
actually
figure it
dragons?
out. Because dragons don't have souls, they have essences instead. All you'd have to do is go, all right, put on my special vision. I want to see souls. You don't have one? Dargan.
How many people can actually do that?
Oh, hold on. I'm not saying very many. I'm saying some, and the some are the ones that count because they're the ones that are probably doing the operations.
Yeah, but here's the thing. What happens when they're found out that they can do this?
Turn into a rat
Okay.
runaway, I don't know.
Okay. I hear
They
you.
could.
I hear you. And what happens to the dragons if they are found out to be there by them?
Oh.
Okay. You know it's a dragon in polymorph form inside a dragon city. Cool.
You know that it's a dragon polymorphed into a human in an otherwise normally just relaxation city. What happens if major fights start breaking out and collateral damage starts happening?
Oh.
And then they deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
but
specifically a guard to deal with fights like that.
Sure, but the guards are only going to be trained to deal with the things that a normal guard would be trained to deal with on average. So, in a major city, you know...
I haven't stated what these guards are. You're just assuming they're normal people.
No, I'm not. Hold on. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. In a normal city, right, guards usually have to deal with, like, bandits or, you know, the occasional bear or wolf or whatever. In a really big city like a metropolis or some fucking crazy shit like that, or in a, you know, area that congregates together with lots of adventurers, they're going to deal with some otherworldly strange shit on average.
Right.
Yeah, like that's the sort of guard that we're talking about.
Exactly.
On average, but like highly trained, very specific, like private guards that are going to be like, I'm protecting a dragon's fucking stuff, and how dare this other guy, you know, come over and start trouble and cause collateral damage? My dragon patron is not going to fucking like that, right? So I'm going to have to be strong enough to deal with whatever. However, if there is a archdruid that is like, I'm going to fucking come into the city and make sure I take head counts of how many fucking people are in here because I'm literally the one in control of the city. Now, I don't know if you have... This is just a storyline.
No, on this point, I would also like to mention of the Great Game.
The what?
Okay.
The Great Game does exist in this world, and it's a way that dragons can compete and possibly fight against each other without causing untold destruction everywhere.
Oh, right. Sure. This is where they create a pocket universe and slap some mortals into it and then make bets on what the mortals do, right?
No, they don't. This is where Zorvental happens. The Great Game, as they refer to it. Dragons will willingly undergo a ritual to strip them of a large portion of their strength to play this game so that they can compete with others. Any dragon who knows that another is a player but they aren't, they typically won't be aggressive against, as there are rules and there is divine consequence for this.
Oh,
So, the
interesting.
dragons that undergo this ritual are now unable to directly act with themselves, and in doing so, they will gather large groups of individuals to then act as their enforcers. So, while yes, skinwalkers may be able to appear, there are several ways that they might cause problems for them just throughout the existence of dragons and what they do.
Right, sure. And
Happen.
I'm not, and I only mentioned skinwalkers before because, like, let's say, for instance, there's an emissary or something. A skinwalker
Right.
would probably want to take over random emissary. If it's a dragon, on the other hand, well, you're not going to send a skinwalker to take control of a dragon. You're just not going to do that.
Right.
You need the right tool for the right job.
Exactly.
An archdruid is going to be like, well, I could possibly get a hold of one of our fucking shamans to bind their fucking essence, or to, capture or teleport this dragon in its weakened state into another location, and then, I don't know, maybe fucking control it in some other way. They could do that. Now, I'm just throwing out ideas, right? And I don't know, because this is, you guys have, you guys have taken and ran with the source material in a different direction. I don't know what sort of directions and things that you've put in progress before, right? Because this is your gig, man. This is your stuff at this point. I'm just giving it ideas of like, hey, man, druids are capable of this. At least they were.
They certainly were capable of that, yeah.
So, shamans definitely have archdruids and high shamans. They basically worked together way back before in Runatria to essentially do one of two things. One, make sure that not a lot of biomass gets around and in one place. That's the druids thing. And shamans are hey, land, calm the fuck down. No more volcanoes. No more 100-year thunder strikes. No more of that. Calm the fuck down so that we don't end up with like fucking elemental kaijus in our hand. Now, if they're gone, or if they are very limited because there's not many left of them because of some tragedy, you could end up in a position where they are going to try and take out or replace major heads of things because it's kind of the last ditch effort before they say fuck it. And then just let it happen. Because what is the dragon going to do, hypothetically, if, oh, hey, I'm a red fire dragon, right? And then all of a sudden, the sky splits open and a thunderbolt the size of a fucking city chars him. Nothing.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't matter if you're in the city or not. Everyone is dead. The druids and the shamans are cataclysmic fucking nukes waiting to happen. And the only reasons why is because they're like, hey, we still want to live in the land that's left. You know what I mean? So they're...
Right.
Yeah, well, that and the super strong ones just aren't around yet. Full stop.
The druids and the shamans are not wanting to unleash hellish scourges of, laying in wait locusts upon fucking the land and smother it of all of its crops.
Right.
They don't want that because they still want to eat. They don't want, all of the basically Geneva suggestions to occur. Because
hey,
man, what happened when they did that
checklist?
Yeah, what happened when they did go for the checklist was all the dragons went, well, we don't have anything to eat, so we're going to eat you.
Right.
You are on the menu now.
Let's say
if
that
they
there
don't
are some
have
dragons
anything
that
to
survive.
eat and they can't eat the druids, they can literally eat the ground that they are on. They can eat inorganic material to feed themselves. It's just debasing. They truly don't want to do it.
Right. And on top of that, let's say that there are some that do actually survive. Okay, there are some that have survived an apocalypse that have now wiped out all plant matter, all people, and now it's just a barren wasteland that kind of looks like the fucking, negative plane. Well, now what happens?
Or Tatooine.
Well, the entire... Yeah, exactly. right? You're just floating bits in space now.
No, it's just desert. Only desert.
Yeah. So, anyway, what happens when the desert starts going, "Get off of me, fleas," and then just slamming giant fucking waves of dunes down on top of a dragon from like miles up in the sky?
Hope they can fucking burrow.
Right. Like you better become a fucking, earth dragon real quick.
Blue dragons, unironically, can burrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they choose deserts and they actually quote unquote swim.
Well, no, like blue dragons, what they like to do is they like to burrow everything but their horn in the desert and build up a static charge with it.
Huh.
Yeah,
it's weird.
But yeah, like I said, it's not a thing of like, oh well, we're going to the druids are not going to dominate the dragons just outright in sheer power. The shamans are not going to do that. The shamans are going to try and like rein their power in a direction without like completely, dominating.
Use it like a knife instead of a hammer, basically.
Exactly. They're not there to completely bury and suppress the power. They're going to leave some like cracks for the power to go in one direction, right? Give a little bit of hope to the dragon, because honestly, they can't do the complete dominance. Like you cannot overly dominate a dragon's essence just as a normal fucking magic user. You're gonna have to have like a Dorb of Dragon kind or something to do it, and that's completely beyond them.
Either that or be like one of the powerful wizards who physically can overpower a dragon's will.
Right,
speaking
and that's gonna take a lot of fucking.
Rogar, who currently controls Runatria? Not Runatria, sorry. The Axiom. No one, right?
Axiom. Not that I know of.
Well, because all the orcs were pushed back to the tip on the end here. So the area with all the dinos has just been kind of left open and barren. I think
it's
we
kind
might
of left
see some
open and barren. There's also been a few quests that have been put out to literally scrape up materials from that area.
Yeah, I think we might see some druids pop up there in the near future, because it is a very just kind of free game right now.
All right.
Very free game. We can definitely see druids pop up there.
Oh no.
Makes sense.
Oh no. You can make a terrible. Anyway,
terrible decisions all the way.
Without giving any more terrible ideas over there. I only mention it because the directions that you can take with Runatria, I wanted to essentially bottle inspiration for druids with Runatria, because with Runatria you've got like the biological warfare thing of like insects swarming out, of like pustulent bubbling swamps and shit like that.
So I've already done something with that, specifically with the Acid Storm area, and I've unleashed specifically an Acid Storm Catastrophe Dragon that is of the Great Worm class. So physically incapable of stopping it.
Okay.
And then give me 1 second. I'm going to describe what a Catastrophe Dragon can do.
The shamans, right? They could, hypothetically, if they wanted to, like, do nukes, they could manipulate weather at a grand stage, or alternatively, they could just fucking pull a meteor from the sky.
Mm-hmm.
So, to put it into
there
perspective...
is a lot of moon rocks floating around now that the moon got split into. That was a thing.
So, to put it into perspective, like a Catastrophe Dragon, we're just going to say some of its stats, has a dexterity of 10, like all dragons.
Oh.
Sure.
It's got a 75 strength. No, it's got a dexterity of 10.
Like
okay, so just +0. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's +0. Its strength is a 75.
What the fuck?
That's funny.
Its mental stats are 62 to 63. Its constitution is a 67.
Damn, this thing's on par with a demigod.
Oh,
so
no, it's worse than a demigod.
It's +20s in most of its stats that matter.
Oh,
Yeah,
higher
like,
than that.
like a god is like plus 50s, definitely
Like-
demigod range.
Sorry. I said plus 20. I meant plus 30 because
Yeah.
if it's like 60 or if it's like 70, it's actually 60 above 10.
Right.
And then if it's 60, then it's like
Its
I don't know,
movement
50,
speed
it's like 25 or
has
something.
Minus 10
60
divided by
feet
2.
on the ground. Its flight speed is 350. It's almost faster than any other dragon. It's also got damage resistance of 35 versus epic, so you need an epic weapon to deal with it, and 15 against lawful. So unless you're using a lawful weapon,
What's an epic weapon?
an
Is that like
epic-
legendary?
no, higher than that.
Oh, so it's an
We're
artifact?
talking like epic levels. We're talking epic levels of items.
Right, so
like
artifact,
beyond
right.
20. Basically.
There is no higher than artifact. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why I said basically.
Yeah.
So it's unless you're using both an epic and lawful weapon, unless you do 41 damage, you're not hurting this thing. That's the first part.
Alright.
It's also got several spells, like it can create a fucking volcano. It's got global warming, ice age. That's not a joke. Those are actual spells. It's also got like great drought, cataclysm, fell winter, and so on.
This thing's a walking
And,
calamity.
That's the idea.
Yeah, it's a
And
calamity
its caster
dragon.
level is that of a 21st level spellcaster.
Well, yeah, but like most tippity top dragons are basically like master sorcerers anyway.
They typically, if they do have levels in sorcerer, it's like 15. This thing is beyond that. So,
That's all beautiful.
on
Is what would
top
Algonquin
of
say.
that, any elemental damage is unaffected against this thing.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy. Noted.
So, on top of it, it has the ability to quicken cataclysmic spells. So any calamities it would like to do, it can do it as a bonus action or free action. Take your pick.
Right, so it's literally changing the landscape in a split second, is what you're saying. So here's
It
volcano
existing
in like
after
3
the
seconds.
merge changed the landscape. If you fight this thing, there will be irrevocable damage to the landscape.
So right now it's just
Basically,
chilling.
Aura. Basically,
It's
Aura,
literally chilling.
you would need to summon some form of kaiju to fight it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Because kaijus don't give a fuck. They'll tear through every element, regardless of whether it's natural or not.
Right.
yeah.
So all of those resistances doesn't mean shit to an actual kaiju because their claws and their fangs will just chomp into it anyway. But that's still going to be a fight that like wrecks the landscape, right? Assuming that they're not traveling at 300 feet per fucking second over multiple rounds, tumbling through mountainsides. Like, whoa, you know what I mean?
So
Just
to
the
put it
sheer
into
mass of these
perspective,
fucking things.
like imagine the
It's 50
scale
a
that the
second.
Naruto versus
20 feet
Sasuke
every
fight
6
happened,
seconds.
or
No.
the Shinobi Alliance versus the Ten Tails.
A turn is over
And
6 seconds, so you
magnify it.
divide 300
Hold
by
on.
6, you get
Aura.
50 feet a second.
Aura, 300 a second.
No.
It's 350 feet
A turn.
normally.
Yeah, a turn. So
That's
that's
not counting
over
its
6
dashes.
seconds. Yeah, let's divide that by 6.
Yeah, so if you're if you are dashing, then you are going 700.
Sure.
And
Sure, that's 100
then
feet a
divided
second.
by 6,
Sure.
it's 100 something odd feet a second.
100, 120. Yeah. And you're
So
dashing.
it's
Yeah.
casually going 40 miles per hour every turn.
Yeah, it's just a lot of distance. It's a fuck ton of distance. Definitely crazy. Ooh.
And then their mass is also fucking gigantic. So that plus mass
Yeah.
equals mountains are now flattened.
Oh yeah.
They're being thrown is what's happening. Not
I-
flattened. They're being thrown.
I'd like to see Akusad fight it. I think your Calamity Dragon definitely gets dunked on though by Akusad. I'd like to see him fight it.
Oh, probably. But the catastrophe dragon will definitely hurt him. Without a doubt.
Oh, without a doubt, it'll leave a scar. Yeah. But yeah, that is a crazy, crazy thing to just be out there, just sitting there, just waiting for a poor idiot adventurer to piss it off.
Yeah, so the most recent thing that happened involving this is a acid storm managed to pass out through the area that it's claimed and into a nearby hidden village of wood elves.
Mm-hmm.
These wood elves were eventually killed and turned to zombies as if it was a zombie apocalypse. It did not matter if you were perfectly healthy. As long as this rain touched it, over time, you would turn into an undead and spread
son.
its plague everywhere.
Damn, son.
It was luckily wiped out, but the entire village was destroyed because of it.
That's kind of wild. Alright, fair enough. Convinced me. That's fucked.
Nobody was spared.
Also, Aura, you were mentioning earlier about like, well, what sort of crazy things threats are going to be in this land? Literally everything laying in wait.
Oh yeah.
Also,
yeah.
you don't need a world-ending threat in every continent.
Well, not a world-ending threat. No. Just a continent-ending threat. Akusad, he's the strongest dragon, or he was the strongest dragon. He's significantly weakened now. Like, I'd definitely say that thing would give him a bit of a fuck you to him nowadays. But it's definitely continent destroyed, not world-ending.
Because the logistics of this, and even from like the typical food pyramid or whatever the fuck, or in this case power pyramid, you don't have that many because there aren't that many that can exist on the top anyway.
Yeah, true.
Also, its size is colossal plus.
Yeah.
Also, one of those continent-ending things is an inanimate object, so
Yep.
It's not the craziest thing, but yeah, that is crazy. That's cool. I think between that and Akusad is like the two most dangerous things in the entire continent, and entire Britannia. In fact, didn't Skithrix just die? Someone killed Skithrix, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So
by the way,
that thing's dead.
Old terms, its challenge rating is 68.
Fuck, that's high. Yeah, it's definitely demigod level.
And at a wormling, it starts at a challenge rating of 15.
Damn. I think we went over everything with Runatria. Have we missed anything?
I don't believe so.
Like,
I hope that I gave some
Oh no, you definitely
there.
did.
oh no,
Okay,
definitely.
Because like
a lot of really
by the
useful
way,
insight.
Regardless of whether or not you even take a single idea, it just interests me to see where you guys are taking the source material. Because I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I like that. And then I just put some like stuff together, and I'm like, all right, bottle some inspiration. Maybe this will turn into something great later. And well, it's cocooned, all right.
It certainly has
it has sprouted its wings.
Yeah, for those who don't know, originally we started with a small description of each faction, some ideas behind how each one was put together.
Right.
We threw them into a new pocket universe, and then this is what we ended up with: is TCR.
I do want to add on. You know how it's like, how America has so many different biomes for it being what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine that, except it's Runatria. It's condensed all there because of all the dragons surrounding it. There's like
Well,
so
yeah.
many different biomes. Like you walk like 2 days in, it could be from like scorching hot to freezing temp.
I actually, for one, cannot wait to get to America. I think the actual American area is super, super interesting for TCR because it has nothing to do with
It's
Britannia. It is its own thing
definitely
entirely.
interesting.
Yeah.
I will say, Renatria is not going to touch it with the 10-foot pole with what you've described.
Yeah, the anti-magic zone is definitely going to be spicy.
Also,
Yeah, when
one,
the
one of
country is ruled by creatures of magic, an anti-magic zone is like, yeah, fuck that.
Also, you said that like, oh hey, druids would definitely not want to have a good time with the demons. You're thinking too small here, buddy. What would the
Well,
dream?
I was thinking they want
what
to
the druids
remove
would
them.
love to do is the if the druids could have a druidic incursion into the nine hells, and then set up shop into the ecosystem of the nine hells within like the soul, oriented.
And ironically, they've kind of done it, but with other, in air quotes, demons.
Yeah. And by the way, Chthonian demons are not Cthulhu. By the way, I know that.
Right.
I know that me and you.
No, I know
probably
what you're
that.
talking about.
Yeah, they are bestial, right? Chthonian
Yeah.
demons are bestial. So a druid could just as likely go, "Oh hey, you're kind of like satyrs. You're kind of like these other things. Oh, we're gonna be right at home."
Yeah.
Because Chthonians are primal demons.
Right.
Hmm.
I will say, I don't know if there's anything else we need to cover, if we need to take a break or anything like that.
I think this is where the stream ends, so it's been going on for 3 hours. That's like a
3
long
hours
stream.
I've been working on some card ideas in the meantime for the card game, and I hopped in here to
more
see.
Time. Could definitely advertise that.
Yeah, hell yeah. I honestly cannot wait until we get the first playable version of the card game. It's going to be fucking great.
Maybe make a stream on that.
Yeah.
I was working on the Divine Minions aura.
Divine Minions. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a couple Spectral Minions done too.
Ooh, Spectral Minions. Ghosty Minions, yes. Alright, okay, so that's this stream over. Runatria, episode 4. The next episode is probably going to be Edinsville, or I'm kind of thinking about doing Infernal, because that's the country I'm heading up next.
Alright.
Thanks for watching. I'm Aura, the host, Mentalk, the Runatria country runner, and that is Mardin, one of the co-founders of TCR.
Oh,
Hello,
I am Mentalk, the